Hello, everyone. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour, and we are playing another session of 2D20 Silvanus, Agrestis, and Salutaris, following the adventures of House Beleza and its various machinations. They seem to be doing well overall. I mean, they managed to neutralize the threat against their Falsgraf, now a lower titled, and other such things. They have put Ilaka well and truly into the bad graces of the Landsrat, frustrated so far the plans of the Beni Talaxu, whose ultimate goal they don't quite know, but they do know they have some beef against them for one reason or another. But otherwise, the Silvanus system seems to be doing rather well. For once, in the many months since their new reign, not a whole lot's happened. This last month has been mostly building up and maintaining the realm and expanding it, with ambitions to greater things soon to come. We pull down. Wrong thing again. Pull down to an area of the planet Silvanus where our dear Richard Marshal, Mill Moonshadow, you were tasked, as I recall, with the establishment of a new farming facility on the ground, yes? Or was one of the space ones, I think.
It was one of the space ones, yeah.
So yeah, actually this works for me. So all three of you, I will actually, you can tell me. At some point at the end of that 4th month, there would be a point where you would have to go down to the Sylvani Woods to work with like getting landing areas set out and making sure it's like, okay, well, you don't go this way, you go this way now, and here's these that warehouse is for that facility, that warehouse is for that facility, because you guys built like 3 farming facilities, like agricultural refinement facilities in orbit. There's actually a lot of changes that happen, and you have 2 plots of land that are dedicated to Sylvani sap cultivation. Well, food cultivation, sorry, you're not collecting sap really, but you know, if you're gonna grow stuff, you're already among the Sylvani trees, so not that big a jump really. But who would be down there at the Beleza Estates, as it were?
False Griffin will be, and yeah, almost request that Moonshadow and the Reverend Mother were there, because I also need to get their assistance on the Moonshadow problem.
Yeah, and Joanna would be, because she needs to do some stuff on the planet and was planning to buttonhole at least the Fallscroft for a private conversation, and what better place than on the planet's surface? In the woods.
So I imagine your farming estates are they very as the Sylvani tribes would say, is it a very off-world affair, or do you follow the more Sylvani style of cultivating from the surroundings? That is to say, clear cutting and trying to make as much empty ground as you can, and then cultivating it that way, or more of a, you kind of put yourself in situ amongst the woods, and then you stake out areas that you know that's for cultivating this, that's for cultivating that. You're kind of it's almost like prearranged foraging areas.
Well, it's almost not even up to us because the reason this got off the ground is we had they're not no yeah, these farms are designed and built and primarily run by sap weavers.
Yeah.
Oh, so in that regard, there would be a nice house, like a estate that you're probably more familiar with, like amidst the woods. That's how you know. That's so you can have the bed you're used to, the windows you're used to, and in Beleza style, it would be made very pretty, but also in the more modern sense, a lot more fortified. But beyond that one house in the middle of this wood, there would be. It's just like if someone were to look around, they wouldn't know this is farming until a guard came up to you and said, "What are you doing here?" There are guards patrolling around, making sure people who aren't supposed to be here aren't here, unless you want them to be here or they work here. So it's a mix of Silvani workers and, of course, Beleza marshals, basically, who aren't directly attached to Moonshadow. They're like the deputy marshals who are assigned to just keep maintaining control of just maintaining law and order on the grounds. So yeah, the three of you arrive. Do you arrive? I imagine that actually thinking of it, you would likely arrive by a either an all-terrain vehicle that winds through the woods, or you'd walk out to this place from the Yilfor Cylindor, the big clearing that because you can't really land hovercraft in the Sylvanian woods; it's too dense. So there's only certain landing zones you can go to. For your facility, there would be lifting facilities for the warehouses, but those you could land at one of those, but they're really meant for cargo takeoff and landing stuff.
Does the estate not have enough cleared space around it for ornithopter?
If you ask them to do it, they would do it. They just don't. They're just not used to doing that. For them, it's a security thing. It's like, hey, if you want a landing zone, go ahead. We'll knock down a couple more trees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine an ornithopter needs much more space than a helicopter. So it's like, instead of clearing enough space to build two buildings, clear enough space. I mean, instead of clearing enough space for one, clear enough space for two, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you could also build in a ornithopter pad into like the estate building itself,
like onto its roof.
Yeah, either way works because Erica's now an ornithopter enthusiast. So we'll be flying those who can tolerate flying in an ornithopter. I think I didn't get one of the ones that had any kind of troop capacity, and it's small, so I think it's only like a couple people, maybe like less than 4.
Give me a move difficulty 1, because I'm picturing Erica being the one flying it rather than having some pilot do it. So there is a chance you biff this and you kind of scratch the ornithopter up a bit or make a kind of silly looking landing, but succeed at cost, you just land and look a little silly because it's hard to screw up when you're landing on a pad that under no real duress. And this is the first time this is one of the few times you probably piloted your own ornithopter. You probably wouldn't have done this during the war very often. During the Canlee.
No, because it wasn't a hot war.
Yeah.
I think move power because who's gonna say no when we're all standing around and was like, okay, we need to go to the estate, and I say, okay, come jump in the ornithopter with me. Who's gonna have the will to say no? I kind of would like to just take the normal orbital transport.
Like there are ways, there are normal ways to get there. No, we're doing it the special way. I'm gonna fly my. You're the person who has their own private mansion out in the woods. Like, no, I'm gonna fly my own helicopter. Have anyone ever seen her fly a helicopter? Well, can you say no to the boss? Well, no.
Yeah, all right, Bezos, we'll get in the chopper.
That's not nice. Erica's far more. I'm not gonna say that because I'm on Twitch.
Take a threat.
Well, you do it. You know, you're able to land the ornithopter with the skill and grace that an ornithopter can manage. And you have this is this your personal one?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
it's a quality 1 ornithopter. It's actually a pretty nice ornithopter.
It is, but it is not built for pleasure or like comfort, because when like stepping out of it, it's armed with guns, missiles, and it is built to be quiet. It is much more a weapon of war than a personal craft for enjoyment.
Armed ornithopter.
Flying around in blue thunder over here.
So you land. Some guards do meet you. They come to attention at the there's like a little step that goes down to the main manor, and they stand at attention. They know you've arrived. You see and you also see one of the Silvani workers waiting by on standby as well.
Do either of them look like they have some news to confer, or they're just doing this out of respect?
They're just doing it out of respect. And also, it's one of those, if you came here, you might have instructions you won't want to pass on immediately, and they're like, well, we're going to make sure we're not going to make you shout after us. You need us. But, you know, bare minimum. The guards are like parade, ready to go, at attention. Whereas the Savannah tribes people are just like, you know, they're workers, so they're just kind of here like, yeah, the boss is here. We'll kind of wait around if the boss needs us for anything. If they don't, we're going to go back to what we were doing.
All right. Yeah, I'll actually turn to the Sapweaver and say, please arrange for a runner to the Moon Shadows and inform them I wish to speak with the chief and the clan mother at their convenience.
Certainly, Falsgrafen. We'll get a runner out in a vehicle right away. And then the guy kind of turns and slaps someone on the arm, and the guy just kind of looks at him like, oh man, I don't want to do this. Like, gives him a look again and nods and runs off. Guy just shakes his head.
Because I'm imagining there aren't many vehicles that can traverse this area much, so...
Yeah, you'd think like four-wheelers, like tiny little things.
Okay, well at least he isn't literally a runner then, because that's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's, if you're forest power training that you got, don't trust vehicles. The woods will eat them. The deeper you go, the less valuable they are. Because in the deep wood, even ATVs are just impossible. It's just it's not that it's like a wall of wood. It's that the ground, you can't trust the ground. You might dip into something and all of a sudden you're falling down into a deep pit, or you splash into a deep puddle, into like a mini pond or whatever. Just go into quicksand. It's like, you know what? Just stay on your feet. But for commercial reasons, if you're going around at a farm to a village, just grab the ATV. Don't run. What are you, a soldier? Are you at war with somebody? Just grab the ATV.
Yeah, then I guess we'll go inside.
The estate has all of the the accoutrements that you would expect of a noble estate. There are various sculptures that were donated from your lesser gentry on Salutaris. There's actually one or two artworks from people here on Silvanus, or even there's one even from Agrestis. Basically, just because it's almost like, because anywhere you go, every building you own is like an art gallery. But that's not news to you. That's just how Beleza rides. Everything around you is well built, but also has a good aesthetic quality to it. It's not pure. It's not quite so brutalist and functional, or utilitarian, I should say. Various servants mill around, waiting for you.
Yeah. Erica will turn around as we enter and say, I'll need the two of you to meet with me soon and go over the issues that I have to bring to the Moon Shadows as a clan. Until then, see whatever you need to see to. Though, Marshall, being that we are on the world, both of us at the same time, this is probably a good time to handle any petitions or legal disputes particular to any of the Silvani or Salutarians who happen to be on world.
Of course.
And she goes to turn away and then turns back around and says, and of course, with Piloti managing the security of Alfonso and being back on the moon, if you need a dueling partner, let me know. I've seen you in the courtyard a lot. Wouldn't mind seeing how well your recovery's gone.
Thank you for the offer.
And then Erica will leave deeper into the estate.
What do Moon Shadow and Johanna get? Oh, you gave me one.
No, I gave you one.
Quick reminder that we're supposed to start the session with 3 momentum.
Yeah, that's the benefit from the adventure you did during your 4th month.
Yeah.
Does it just happen the first game, or is it every game until we do another management?
I think it's just the next session after
Next
the
session,
management.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you did a Unity meeting, so you're like, okay, let's coordinate a little.
Okay. Does Joanna have the ability to convene a meeting of the clan mothers?
Say again, sorry?
Does Johanna have the ability to convene a meeting of the clan mothers?
At the deepest deep, you can call them to a clan mother's meeting. You're the only one who can do that outside of a conclave. There's only 2 places all clan mothers go gather, because just for safety reasons, is either at the conclave, because then there's a ton of warriors, and good luck getting all the clan mothers at once, or without short of an atomic. They don't seem to be worried about that. Or if you go to the deepest deep, very few people in the entire Savannah system could get that deep without clan mothers' paths.
Right. So, I mean, is it that? Because I figure you'd have to send out messengers or whatever to the clan mothers to arrange a gathering. So, if I was wanting to do that, do I need to start doing that now, or do I just go to the deepest deep and put out the call, and the clan mothers are attuned so they get the call?
Either way it can be done. It's usually a personal preference from the clan mother of no clan. Some prefer to reach out, others prefer to use messengers. It's a personal comfort thing, really.
Right, fair enough. How far of a journey is it from our estates to the Reverend Mother's Glade?
No more than a week, I'd say. The weather holds.
Okay.
Especially from where you are. Like you're actually pretty deep in, so it'd actually be less. You should be able to get there inside a week if wood is being friendly. The weather holds up.
That lets me know some background I needed. Meanwhile, I'm going to see if I cannot find Nari Sapweaver, my contact in the Sapweavers.
Yeah, you find them here on the estate. They kind of knew you were coming, so like I should probably go there just in case. Actually, no, you recruited them from here, so.
Yeah, they were like the head of, when we were first setting up our first farm, they were the head of the Sapweavers who came to.
The person Eric could probably talk to was Nary Sapweaver. Oh, hey, go do this. All right, it's like I'm the head person here around here, so I meet with the false graphic.
So yeah, and what do I need to ask? I want to take the pulse of the Sapweavers and any. Yeah, I'm looking for rumors and information from the tribal grapevine, as it were, particularly as it regards House Beleza, but also anything coming out about the moon shadows, since the Falksgrafen seems particularly interested in that clan.
I'd say communicate difficulty of 3. It's not. This isn't reflecting them telling you stuff. It's them telling you what they know and you asking the right questions. Like what you should be asking about, rather than getting lost in like minor gossip.
Communicate truth.
Yep. And after this roll, before I forget, Eric, I should ask you for communicate difficulty 1 to send that message, because you might be able to generate some momentum out of it. I forgot to say that. Oops.
Do this the minor support characters, do they cost momentum?
Like just like a house guard or something? I think they cost
that caliber of yes.
Yeah. I want to say yes. I think they cost like almost nothing. It's like small.
Okay, because not to slow down this roll, but it just had a thought of maybe we should use those more. Like maybe it should have like a minor planet-bound spy that Johanna's having that's actually
it's
transmitting the orders and stuff.
It's 1 momentum or 1 threat. Have them appear and seem to be controlled.
What are you wanting to do with the minor support?
Just assist, give extra hits. It just as a thought, it occurred to me that we probably don't use them nearly as much as they're meant to be used, because the supporting characters we spent an ungodly amount of momentum on, and so they take an ungodly amount of threat to get involved, which means they don't very often.
Right.
because you don't really want to deploy them unless the problem warrants it. But I was thinking that there's no reason there can't be a minor spy here that's helping you as part of this.
Yep.
Okay. But I think let me handle this role.
Yeah, because
As is,
no,
'cause I don't
that's what
have-
I was saying is that it's gonna take me too long to make it to
Yeah.
be relevant to this role. It was just the thought was about this role.
So I'm going to give you 2 and 1 for 4 dice.
2 and 1.
Would other memory come in on this?
No, because you're
Okay.
asking for new information. Like what the current rumor stuff is.
Well, hit it with. Looks like I gain 1.
You learn that in general, the Silvani tribes are pretty comfortable with how things are going. There's a lot more the idea that there's a lot more refining happening in space is encouraging. They do like that it's going to be more than just House Valorian that's doing refining and stuff. They know that you're looking into that Belez is looking into doing that, so they like that they like a more diversified market. Joe might not like it as much, but you know, the Silvani do. That means they have someone else to talk to when it comes to and all their eggs aren't in one singular basket. That's how you end up with the fate of the Fremen, frankly. Security wise, they feel pretty okay. They like the rumors about the about Canley stopping between Moritani and Ikaz. Like that winding down is a huge comfort, because that means they don't have to worry about it as much here. There's been like 1 or 2 tiny Canley things that have happened. I mean, most of them around you guys being caught in sideswipe attacks and stuff. But you know, there's always that worry that it was going to get a lot hotter here, Canley wise, and they're glad they don't have to worry much. As for the moon shadows, however, are even more secretive than normal, which, you know, to any outsider, that's, you know, shadows are like moon shadows, probably one of the few public facing moon shadows in the entire system. Like a person who you can find on a role with a prominent position. Moon shadows tend not to go up in rank for intentional reasons. Whereas the Sisterhood goes to high positions and finds the powerful, moon shadows tend not to become powerful. They tend to stay in a very low-key spy setup.
Yeah.
Not that they're a monolith. I mean, Mill can be just like, you know, just felt like doing it for whatever.
Right. Just in general.
Yeah. But, yeah, they're more secretive than normal. Like, even among the other tribes, they're kind of keeping to themselves. They still send out their spies to protect other tribes. That's, you know, that's part of their job. But there's something else you sense in all this. You get this feeling that there's an operation that they're right now. That's what it feels like to you. Like both as a spy master and in a way, other memory kind of helps a tiny bit here. Like this feels like they're in the middle of an intrigue of some kind. They're just not. It's just that no one knows it, but you are picking it up from Nary Sapweaver. But they don't know it. They don't realize what they're talking about. They're saying, "Oh yeah, there's this, that, and the other. There's this weird thing, and so and so said so and so hasn't shown up to his meeting lately, and this guy skipped this guy's birthday." It's like, you know, it doesn't sound relevant, but you're piecing it together.
Right. Okay.
They're trying to help. I'm not trying to be evasive. It's just more of I'm a head farmer. What do you want to know?
Okay. Yeah. So I think I have the information I want before I meet with the Fallscroft and see what she has dug up, so that we can kind of compare notes and figure out which way to go.
I'll throw that diff 1 roll at Erica, communicate roll to send up the summons. I will say this can succeed at cost. If you whiff it, it will get to them. It'll just take time getting the ball. Like you'll accidentally send them to the wrong village. It's like, no, they're not there. They're over here now. They moved.
Personality trait courtier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll buy 1 dice.
If
Momentum. And do we count this as persuading them to agree to a meeting?
not so much, it's making sure it gets to them. It could be move or communicate on that front, but I thought communicate was a
Okay,
better.
so
was
this
a
is
better
not
fit for
the
you.
this doesn't have anything to do with the content of the message. Just does it get there?
Yeah.
Um. Would diplomacy work for communication?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um. I think. Um. I think justice because. There are a lot of approaches I could take with the information I already know, but meeting and talking with them is the fairest for everyone involved.
Yeah. I'll take that. It's 3. Oh, sorry, 4. Oop. What is Mill Moonshadow up to during all this communicating and talking about tribal gossip?
Likely working on some of the legal paperwork that the Falsgrafen mentioned, as well as if there are members of her family around, she'd probably take some time to chat with them.
You. Which would you like to try first? There's 2 different things I have in mind. You might learn. The first thing you're gonna.
Probably the paperwork, because business before pleasure and all that good stuff.
Give me an understand roll. Difficulty of 4.
Yikes. Okay.
You might learn something from all your as you investigate the recent deputy marshal reports and minor petty crimes and so on.
Alrighty then. I'll buy up to a full mitt, so you can take a threat. I'm mostly going to use momentum for it.
Gotcha.
I don't think danger sense or physical empathy would make sense in this case.
No, I wouldn't think so. No, danger sense fires. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Oh, cool. Dang.
6 gain.
2. Nice.
As you're looking into things, you notice that there's, in general, peace is being maintained within Beleza lands. It's hard to do something against with the amount of military power you guys have been funding for the last few months. It's hard for anyone to try anything like a raid or smugglers trying to break in and do something like a smash and grab. There's just too much military power ready. that's just not worth it. It's just too much. You're looking at what you had difficulty 4 for a bit, then dropped to difficulty 3. I think you've only recently went to difficulty 2 at most now. Just playing planetary defense. So it's been not really worth trying to attack these farms for anything. Go for other places. So that's good. But as part of the investigations, the marshals do watch out for places around your territory, just in case someone's trying to. Just because it's not on your territory doesn't mean that this isn't on Silvani territory or Silvanus territory. So, aha, I've run away from you. I'm not on Beleza lands anymore. Cool, you're still under arrest. What you're doing is still a crime under Imperial law, so. But, you do sense from the reports, though, that a lot of money is being moved around. A lot of Salutaris being spent at certain watering holes. A lot of hired guns haven't been found by your deputy marshals. And that's kind of had them on edge, because that feels like there's going to be something. Like, part of it was they were worried it was going to be an attack on the farm, or the farms, or maybe an attack on the Savani tribes. Maybe even a revival of the cultists. But, they haven't, for the past month, they haven't done anything. Just, these mercenaries are out in the wild being paid for something. And when you think about it with that higher roll, you get the feeling that if they had all gone off-world, you would have heard about it. Like, the other marshals in the system would have asked you, hey, have you seen anything? To have interworld power and spend that much money, you need someone really rich or influential to move that many. So these mercenaries are likely in system. For what reason, you don't know yet, but someone hired a lot of people.
Okay. In that case, when I'm meeting with others of the Moonshadow clan, I'll ask them if they've noticed any movement of mercenaries.
You notice there's no Moonshadows on the premises. That's odd. There's usually at least one or two.
Odd.
Just to keep an eye on you guys, really.
That is very odd.
You hear the roar of an ATV, and a little siren going off as you see a marshal riding up on the estate. And they kind of see you on the steps, and they kind of run up to you. Ritter Marshal, I have a report.
What is it?
Dead bodies in the wood.
Let's go then. What is it? I didn't mean to cut you off.
They explain to you as they go to the ATV and get ready to drive it for you, to drive you out into the woods.
Okay.
Seems like some sort of firefight in the woods nearby. There's a bunch of bodies lying out. We not close enough for anyone to hear, but still, whatever it was messy. Notes got something.
You're a good cat, but you tend to want to curl up on my notebook, and I'm using my notebook.
There's at least 5 dead. There's precise the exact count. They look into the radio and they hear a chatter, and you overhear it a little bit. There's 5 bodies still out there. We put up a small fire team to secure the scene. Give me move difficulty 1, because you're being assisted by your fellow marshal who's driving you out there.
Okay. Move difficulty 1, you say?
Yep.
Alright. Go with duty. I will buy 1 extra die just because I really want to make sure I succeed on this.
With momentum or threat?
Momentum.
2.
Okay.
You drive out. You have the marshal, the deputy, the local deputy marshal, one of them anyway, driving you out. You see amidst the trees appears to be a mix of arrow and slug thrower fire. See some various turnings of ATV tracks that have like marred the ground severely.
Okay.
And 5 dead bodies that are splayed out on the ground.
I will attempt to investigate the scene. Ideally identifying who the bodies are, if I know them.
Understanding difficulty of 2.
Right. Do I either danger sense or physical empathy apply?
No.
Kinda doubt it. Okay. We'll buy 2 extra dice with momentum. No focus. Nice.
One, 2, sorry. As you investigate the scene, you see that these people have the appearance of, they're dressed in the way that the Velez's condemned dress when they're going through the woods. So it shows that these people are, but they also have certain quirks to their clothing, affectations, weaponry, equipment that shows they're off-worlders. They're not of the wood. They're not Silvani. But they are force-powered trained. They do know how to operate out. Which tells you that these are probably mercenaries that are trained, that have trained to operate in the woods. You see that there are. It looked like there was multiple ATVs, and then one ATV was dragging along a cargo trailer of some kind. And whatever was in there was very heavy. You see a broken blade, some strange footprints, and you actually see something you don't see in the wood that often. You see laser lasgun burn marks on like a tree or two. Among one of the bodies, you actually burned from being like hit by a lasgun. You see what appears to be a certain part of the wood, noted in the Silvani style. But it's one step further than that. As a moon shadow, you recognize a code in the message. It's saying like go to this place, but what they mean is go to the place of 2 rivers near this rock. What they mean is 2 River Rock is like a quadrant, like it's a secret meeting point. And it also refers to something. Make sure the cloak is intact. whatever that means. There's no code that gives more context than. But whatever this is, it was. This was timed. You get the feeling that if whatever this group was doing, if they had gotten at all closer to the farming estate, the guards of the estate would have heard it. So if they waited 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes to attack, they would have given themselves away. They were just far away enough, perfectly positioned to be outside of the detection range of the farm. And you wouldn't have seen it from the ornithopter. And actually, when you think about it, like how warm the bodies are, how fresh the blood is, this happened as you guys were landing. Like as you guys were approaching the farm.
I will call over one of the deputy marshals and ask them to see if they can get the deceased identified, so that we can notify next of kin.
The deputy marshal nods and they start radioing it in and getting a data slate to kind of start looking up who these people are.
For my part, I'm going to go to the meeting place that was identified.
For momentum, you can guess at where that is.
Sure, I will spend the momentum.
You think about some codes. The thing that they're talking about is actually a settlement that's on the southern part of the wood. So pulling into the big map.
Oops.
You guys are like here.
Oh, okay.
And most people, if they're going back to quote-unquote civilization, they go this way. Like they go to Wildwood or Sylvan Ranch or Horizon's Edge or one of the other places, right? Like they head out of the wood, cross the river, and then go to the other continent, right?
Yeah.
This way leads, if you go much further that way, you're going into the deep wood. But these guys were saying that they were going to a tiny little village here on this side of the... Actually, it's here. I take that back. So it's like, it was almost like they were going like this.
Okay.
I'll actually mark the map. Know about. It's a small village that no one's really claimed. It's just a place that people go to. I would say it's one of those underworld contact locations that you would know as a marshal, but instead of knowing it from your marshal days, you know of it from your Moonshadow days. It's one of those, the Moonshadows let it be there because it's useful. It's a nice little town that no one really... As long as they don't cause too much fuss, the Moonshadows let them be. They cause a fuss, there's always the threat of we will make you not be a fuss anymore. And no one's gonna care what happened out here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whoops. It is some distance away. Significant distance away, in fact. It's all the way through the wood. Yeah, most I'll say. The information I have so far.
Okay. Well, I will start making preparations to depart for that. I don't think I'll want to bring my deputy marshals with me, because I don't necessarily want to attract too much attention with this operation.
I'll throw an understanding difficulty 2 as you prepare to head out. You might realize something about what's happened.
I doubt either of my focuses apply. Danger sense or physical empathy.
No.
Right. I will buy 1 extra die with momentum. Me with the hot dice today. Holy crap.
2 momentum back. It occurs to you that this could be purely a martial issue. But this could be in part of a Canlee attempt. The ceasefire hasn't been officially stated in the Landsrat, so this might have something to do with that. You're not sure. If it's purely martial, then there's no reason to tell anyone else, any of the other architects, what's going on, because it's not their problem, frankly. If it's a Canlee issue, it becomes a house issue.
I'm gonna notify the Falscroft because if there's a risk of a Conley attack, then she needs to know.
How do you intend to inform her? Right, just getting a marshal to run a message to her, or are you going to call over the radio?
I'd get a runner to go run a message to her.
Give me move or communicate difficulty of 1, because they could just grab an ATV and drive back.
I will go communicate. With duty, 2 dice, no focus. There we go.
Right, 2. As a deputy marshal will arrive, actually probably around when Johanna is meeting with Erica. You see a marshal step in with a data slate from the Ritter Marshal.
I'll motion him over.
Volksgrafen, report. Message from the Ritter Marshal. And they stand at attention and then hold out the data slate with formality.
I'll take it and read it.
What specifically do you tell Erica in the message there, Mil?
I would say that there was a there's been an incident outside of the farm. 5 dead. Possible larger threat at play. I'm investigating. I'm trying to be a little on the vague side because I don't know if this would have been intercepted or not. So,
Okay, then yeah. Eric will kind of read it over and then look up at Johanna and say, I don't think we have much time to discuss, merely time to act. I met with what are the, I feel like it's Stone or something, the other tribe I met with. I don't think it was the Sapweavers. It might have been though.
No, you met with the Sapweaver chief.
Okay. And I'll say, I met with the Sapweavers. I had a long talk with their clan mother, and they're very confused about some of the things the Moonshadows are doing, and I talked with the Duke of Agrestis, and he's concerned there's a bioweapon being developed by the tribes. I asked the Sapweavers if that's the case or what they knew, and they said that to their knowledge it's not, but if it is, the only person who could do it would be a clan mother, And the only clan mother who's acting weird at the moment is the Moon Shadow clan mother. These deaths may mean nothing, or they may mean the Duke of Agrestis broke his oath to me, or they may mean the Moon Shadows are bringing about a war they can't possibly win on themselves by provoking him. Or it might be neither of the two, and someone else is trying to provoke them. Either way, there may be hours or less, I imagine, to avert a crisis. Erica pauses for a moment, in case Johanna has something to say.
Sorry, I didn't actually realize I was in that meeting yet.
Yeah, you're
You're the only other person in that meeting.
Okay, say that again. Sorry, I was wrestling with a cat.
Okay, starting from the top. Duke of Agrestis thinks there's a bioweapon
Yeah.
on the planet.
Mhm.
I told him, don't do anything, let me find out. He agreed to that.
Okay.
I came down, talked to the Sapweavers. The Sapweaver says no one would do that, but if they did do it, they'd have to be a clan mother.
Right.
And then they said, and I asked who could probably do it, and they said, we don't know, but the Moon Shadows, they're acting very weird. I tried to go talk to the Moon Shadows, and they had parts of their territory they were guarding heavily and in a way that is not normal.
Okay. Right. I
Um,
knew all
They oh yeah, okay. So and then right, we have this attack where some people were killed and they'll die. So Erica's saying that we probably don't have long to act because either the Duke of Agrestis, the Moon Shadows, or a third party have, well, either the Duke of Agrestis or the Moon Shadows have jumped the gun, or a third party is trying to goad them into doing that.
Right. And the dead bodies were mercs, right?
That was not in the message to us.
Okay. But they weren't tribes members.
None of that information was in the.
Okay. Okay.
It said nothing about who they were.
You said bodies, an incident.
GM, again, going back to being the clan mother with no clan, like, does Joanna have the authority to just, I mean, is her position such that she can make the clan mother of the Moon Shadows meet with her?
You can go to her, or you can summon her to a
Right.
the
Right.
Duke's
That's what I'm saying. Like, if Joanna went to the Moon Shadows territory, and said, you know, I'm going to meet with your clan mother.
It would be unseemly to refuse you. Technically, they could, but you're not supposed to.
Right.
Because it's presumed you're on tribal business.
Right. And how far is that from here?
Couple days.
Okay.
Mind you, it's going to take a couple days. On a meta level, it's going to take a couple days for Moonshot to get from where she is to where she wants to go anyway. So.
Right.
A new scene will have begun. I'll put it in the concrete sense, in a meta sense.
Okay. Does Joanna? I don't know if there's a role I can make for this or what, but do I feel like we've got that kind of time?
Hard to say. You know so little right now. It's hard to guess.
Right. I can force, or in theory, I should be able to force the Moon Shadow clan mother to meet with me, using my position amongst the tribes. In theory, she shouldn't refuse me, but I believe the Moon Shadows are up to something. From the information I've gathered, they appear to be either ramping up to mount an operation or are starting to mount some sort of operation. I take it you believe that they have the bioweapon?
I don't know. If I had to guess, they do, and they're waiting until an appropriate moment to tell you as fait accompli.
Hmm. Very well. I can make the journey to the Moon Shadows territory and see what I can learn there. I don't think there's any point in sending anyone else with me. They won't let. I have the best opportunity of getting through their cordon and then to see the clan mother by myself. I think anyone else would just get stuck outside.
She said, Erica says, maybe that was true for your predecessors, but the condemned can protect you if I need them to.
Well, fair enough, but I don't think we want to spark a war with the Moon Shadow clan just yet. They're up to something and being more secretive even amongst the tribes, but who knows why or what. I do know that the interest of both the Emperor and the Beni Talaxu has not slackened in the least. So with these, we have multiple potential enemies operating against us. I was hoping to do this in a more private place, but with your permission, I would like to deploy the dampener so that we may speak with the maximum amount of security possible.
GM, I'm assuming long ago that I sent that guy away. Is he still here?
He's nearby in case you wanted to send a message to the marshal, but if you wave him off, he'll just leave.
Yeah, I did. Just to make sure that's not a thing. Erica, yeah, Erica will allow that.
Okay. So I want to activate the Ixion dampener and to take whatever other steps I think are necessary to do my best to ensure this conversation is not going to be overheard or overseen.
Quick question again. Does anyone have dual loyalties as a talent? I remember you talking about it. Okay. Noted. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if Johanna had it or not. It was gonna spark something, but nope.
No, I've toyed with it here and there, but I've just had to keep buying specialists
Yeah.
times to get my supplies.
As you're doing that preparation, I'll look to Moon Shadow. So the question becomes, how are you intending to get to this faraway village? Because on foot, it will take you a very long time. Even with your knowledge of the wood.
I'll spend 2 momentum to make myself a ground transport.
Do momentum?
Yeah.
Okay, and you will need to give me a move difficulty of 2 to get to the place you're trying to get to is Vernalis Hollow. That's to show that you get there and you don't get hung up, you don't get you don't break down your vehicle, that sort of thing.
Move difficulty 2, you say?
Oh.
Alright, I will spend 1 momentum for an extra die.
Generate a momentum. You begin the long ride across the Silvani woods to the hidden village of Vernal Hollow. So back to the estates. Johanna, I'm going to ask you for your wallet or your character. Otherwise, I will actually ask you for understand difficulty 2.
Okay. Understand truth.
Yep.
Will deductive reasoning apply here?
Ooh, it would, but I'm gonna back off truth because your value is I will discover the truth. This is about you
I'm trying
preventing
to hide it.
You're
Okay.
trying to hide it, yeah.
Duty. Oh, cat. You just okay. I thought she locked me off. Okay, I want to switch to duty then.
Okay, duty works.
You. I'm using that notebook. You have to get down here. Okay. Deductive reasoning apply.
Yes.
Okay, and you said difficulty 2. There's anything else I have that might. Trait of spy.
Yep.
Okay, so that brings it down to 1. I'll give you a momentum for a third die. Focus. And the Ixion dampener is a quality 1 item.
Yep. So I'll give you a single bonus moment.
Okay.
Good
Cool.
golly. Where were these rolls a couple weeks ago?
Right?
Difficult 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 5 plus a float. As you set up the Ixion damper and make sure that you check the windows, you check the doors, you make
Right.
sure no one's hovering around in cupboards or anything. There's no like little drones hiding anywhere. Check under tables real quick to make sure no one, like, even if you put up the dampener, if I have a recorder inside the
Right.
bubble, it kind of defeats
Right.
the whole purpose. So you very thoroughly sweep the room and then turn on the dampener and then sweep real quick again because maybe it waits for something to turn on, then they reveal
Right.
themselves. So there is nothing in here that could be watching or recording you other than the 2 humans. Well, 1 human and 1 other person.
Okay, let's see, I've got a float. I could make some sort of trait here. I'm just going to use the float and one of the momentum on the table to create the trait privacy, just to up that difficulty even further in case somebody is, got a parabolic microphone or whatever. Just kind of
just make it even harder still than
Right.
it already was. Yep.
right,
That's fair.
because we're gonna spill some tea now, boys.
Well, ladies,
Um,
but
Right. I was speaking to chat. Anyway, which is to myself. But anyway, so okay, I have something important to tell you, my liege. The will of Silvanus is more than a mythology or a faith or a philosophy or even a mode of expressing the forces of nature. In the deepest deep of the forests, there is an entity called Silvanus. This entity is a Cymac. From passed down through generations, it is believed that Silvanus is one of the original Cymacs, who early on retreated from the ambitions and avaricious goals of his fellows to settle here in what at the time was the far, far frontier and devote himself to this garden and creating a world in theory that is the best possible for the environment of the planets, of the system, and the people who live upon them. I can absolutely confirm that this entity exists. I have spoken with it. Its existence has been passed down from Reverend Mother to Reverend Mother of Silvanus for 10,000 years. And before that, from Clan Mother to Clan Mother for even longer. However, during this entire time, it does not appear that Silvanus has ever been tested, as we, the Bene Gesserit, test individuals to determine their humanity. It is therefore become my intention to devise a method of testing this entity so that its humanity may once and for all be proven. The legends of the Cymex, as you may remember from our schooling, were that these were humans whose ultimately used cybernetics to overcome the vicissitudes of age until finally that was, according to the writings in the Orange Catholic Bible, only their brains left within an otherwise completely mechanized cybernetic machine. Through some means I don't understand, it appears that this Silvanus Cymek has quite literally melded with the planet and the life on the planet, particularly the forest and its inhabitants. Again, the ancient legends of how the forest takes care of its own and deals with intruders by itself are not at all the myths that they are taken by most to be. It is in fact Silvanus protecting its existence and protecting those who live in the forest and treat it with respect. But again, I do not know why my predecessors have not deigned to test the assertion of its humanity, but I cannot see how that can any longer be avoided. If Silvanus does prove to be human, then he is an entity that can be worked with. If, however, it is not proven, then it is a thinking machine, and we must take whatever steps necessary to end its existence.
Erica's just like playing with the data slate on the table in an effort not to interrupt you, and then kind of slowly looks up and goes, "You've never known me to be particularly religious, but I am not so foolish as to be irreligious. Out of respect for telling me this, and how much you've served the family, and how much I personally value you, I'm going to ask that you return to Salutaris. You know, telling me this, there's only one thing I can do. I exist because humanity needs a way to put an end to thinking machines and keep thinking machines from ever coming back. The Emperor cannot be in all places at once, so he has families throughout the Empire who manage his lands. I am one of those. My existence is purely the Orange Catholic faith here. My existence is the protection of humanity against thinking machines. There is no other course for me than to summon the War Master and my house's atomics and burn this forest.
If indeed it is a thinking machine, this is the crux of the issue. We don't know if it
There are
is. And if you use atomics against a potential human, then you have violated the Great Covenant. This is why we must test this entity to determine its humanity. Otherwise,
You know as
actions
well
risk-
as I do that whatever this thing is, it has no house, meaning no defense in the Landsrod. And the Landsrod would rather hear that I accidentally killed one human with an atomic than ignored the existence of a thinking machine.
if it is a thinking machine. This is the issue.
Humans don't live for tens of thousands of years.
And yet our lives are artificially extended.
Sure.
And
And
prosthetic and cybernetics are still part of our society.
but not of this magnitude, not of the magnitude you claim. If it is important enough to you and you want to take your life into your own hands, find the truth of it, I'll give you a week, because extracting and arming the atomics is not a trivial matter. And I have to summon the other nobles and the tribes.
It may not be necessary to use atomics if it comes to that. This too is a part of the testing.
If it's
No.
this,
The other option is the bioweapon. And here is the test of humanity. An animal will flinch from pain. It will react and pull away. A human can overcome those instinctual drives should the motivations be strong enough. In the Bene Gesserit, we inflict a pain upon the individual that is agonizing. But should the individual flinch, at his throat we hold the deadliest poison known in the Empire, and death will be instantaneous no matter how quickly they move. The test of humanity is to withstand the pain, because their knowledge of what the alternative is enough to allow them to overcome their animal instinct. The bioweapon is the threat of death for Silvanus, for this planet. And if it proves not to be human, then the bioweapon should be immediately deployed. This is the test of the Bene Gesserit. That which fails it is not human, and therefore its destruction is either necessary or of little or no importance. And I have recently determined the manner in which the pain can be caused to perform this test. What I'm telling you is that if the test is failed, we destroy the world. Just atomics may not be the best manner to do it. In fact, I think this bioweapon, I think the entity may be more vulnerable to this type of bioweapon than to atomics. Whether it is a machine or not, it is an entity that, in theory, might be able to influence the workings of atomic weapons, or at least their triggering mechanisms. The bioweapon is the sure attack. This is the test of humanity that I propose. Either proof of humanity or the destruction of this forest and indeed all life on this planet. And in such an event, the use of the bioweapon would not be a violation of the Great Convention because, as you note, it would have been used to extinguish a thinking machine. I would also dare to suggest that should Silvanus pass the test of humanity, then potentially the entire Silvanus system could free ourselves from Empire and from Guild and from Chome. We could be free. But that is all to be determined later. If you are intent on obliterating the planet with atomics, then I will meet my fate in the forest where I have always felt so much at home. But I believe that there is a path for us here, one that does not violate the Orange Catholic faith or the Great Convention, but one which could lead to prosperity for this entire system and power for Beleza. And would allow us to survive the cataclysm that is coming in just a few years. For one is coming. All signs and all of the Reverend Mothers can feel it. The universe is going to shift, as I believe I have told you before, and with it will come the fall of everything we know. If Silvanus proves to be human, this may be the way for House Beleza and our system to withstand, survive, and prosper the coming cataclysm. This is what the Reverend Mothers of Silvanus have been working towards. This is what the Clan Mothers have been working towards, to ensure the prosperity and survival and life and continuation of human life within this system against the coming fire. And it is coming.
On that point, we move to look at what Vernalis Hollow is up to.
For a second there, because I was scrolled up on the screen, I thought that was a character I didn't know about.
These in the future, the Richard Marshall arrives in Vernalis Hollow. It is a small village, but it is one that has the trappings of Imperium, square, brutal buildings made to withstand fire and weather alike. There are, of course, the more sort of spherical or rounded grown buildings that Savani people live in. They look very out of place here because you're not in the wood anymore by this point. You're actually out in the southern plains of the continent. And one thing that you notice, Moonshadow, is that there are a fair amount of Moonshadow tents. It's almost like the Moonshadow clan moved down here to this village, which is very odd because it's outside of the wood. Almost no one likes being outside of the wood, but they seem to have repositioned a huge chunk of the clan out here. You see like a few grown houses that of friends and relatives of yours. So that is new. That you're not used to that many growths being here. You also notice that there is a brand new glimmering glass enclosure with a sort of shimmering shield around it, with an emblem indicating it is a CHOAM-sponsored facility. That is to say, it isn't owned by a particular house, it's owned by someone in the administration of CHOAM activities. Usually you'd put these in places like, if you know a lot of trade is happening somewhere, CHOAM will put like a major trading house somewhere, or put an official to help manage stuff. Partly to make sure the CHOAM gets its cut, but also to help out, cough cough. Supposedly it's there to help out with the local economy if they think the economy is big enough for the Imperium to care. But given how small this village is, this is like putting a major like government chamber of commerce building in like a small hamlet or village. Like it's overkill for the amount of economy this one village could possibly produce.
It's like having a stock trading center in Flin Flon, Manitoba.
Yeah. And it's an expensive endeavor to do. To build something on it. Especially if it isn't well known. But then again, you don't work in CHOAM day to day, so this may be something the treasurer would have known about and not brought up, or not. But to evade the treasurer would have been even more expensive. Evading a marshal, they're not doing anything illegal, technically. So CHOAM is purchasing imperial land to build a building. They can do that. All land is imperial land in a way. Yeah, a few people notice your vehicle rolling up. Do you still like roll right into town in your full marshal's regalia? You're in uniform with like your marshal's badge. Mind you could have changed it on the way here if you wanted. I can't hear you. 1 second. I knocked out my own ears. There we go. I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I'd be in plain clothes. In this case. No need to be like advertising it, although, you know, it would be openly known among the Moonshadows at least, but
because of dual loyalties, I am willing to give you the fact that there's a change of Moonshadow clothes that you have on you.
Yeah, that works. So yeah.
So you drive into town. There are, there's a drinking hole. There's the tents of the Moonshadows. There's the big CHOAM trading facility. There's some houses. There's a distinct lack of any church building of any kind. But then again, this place is so small, who would bother? That would require a sister to come out here or something. And then again, so there's no Bene Gesserit present. Where do you go?
I guess I'll start in I'll start in the drinking hole, the social area.
In this place, you walk in, and you find that there are a variety of people who are dressed in cloaks and hoods, with some pretensions at being used to the Sylvani wood, but you've been a moonshiner long enough and a marshal long enough. These are people who bought Silvanus system clothing, but they don't know how you're supposed to wear it. Like, you don't know. It's like, yes, you do use that hood. It's not raining right now, so you don't pull it up. It looks weird that you have it up. That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
A lot of people kind of glance over at the door. They see you in plain clothes, and they kind of forget about you almost immediately. There is a server at the counter, cleaning glassware.
I guess I'll go up there and order something to drink.
You ask for water, liquor.
I'd go with water. I don't know. I don't know what, if any, trouble I might run into while I'm here, so.
You sip at the water. They pour it for you. They ask for like a piddling of solari for the water. Water's cheap on Silvanus, so the server looks a little irritated that you just ordered water because it is cheap. Maybe paid a half pent solari coin for it. Same
Gotcha.
amount you'd pay for someone cleaning your clothes, you know.
If they have food, I'd order some food as well. So I imagine I've been driving for a while, so I might be hungry by now.
Yeah, they have a bit of food. They actually, oddly, despite being so near to the wood, they mostly have off-worlder fare, so soups, meat dishes of that variety, fish, which is kind of expensive because the cheap way to get food is just, you know, the village isn't that far from the wood. Just go north like an hour, go hunt or forage, and you can get fresh berries, you can get local fish, you get some birds. You can have all kinds of stuff out there. It's a very bountiful wood, and instead they're shipping in stuff, so you end up spending a bit more on the food, which the server likes it, but you get the feeling your average person wouldn't be able to hear easily. Either people will hunt around here, or people come in. If they eat food in this place, they have money. Not wealth levels, like you don't need a wealth asset, but you know it's still pricey. Your average if you had the poor trait, I'd be picking on you.
Gotcha. Fortunately for me, I actually have a wealth asset this time.
Oh yeah, so
week.
you can blink this off. This barely affects you. But you realize, having been a commoner, you could eat here like, you know, once a month, maybe twice a month. Mind you, you'd probably just hunt, because why would I pay for it if I could just get it myself? Yeah, people leave you alone. Server kind of keeps themselves. They seem a bit higher spirits now that you actually bought something that's worth money. And you've also proven that you have monies. You notice a few people in here are just nursing waters. It's irritating, but they're buying stuff, so technically they can't kick them out.
Alright. I will ask around. Here, I'll try to ask around covertly to see if folks around here are aware of the conflict that occurred a few days ago.
Give me communicate. Difficulty 4.
All right. Interrogation or persuasion apply?
Interrogation.
Okay.
Doing a bunch of mini interrogations. I'll increase your complication by 1 because of that, because there is you come off a little martially when you're asking so many questions.
I'm gonna buy up to a full minute, using the available momentum and 1 threat.
Yep.
Just because that is very difficult to check. Dang it.
You're 1 short.
Yes, I am spending my determination to reroll the things that are not successes using my trait of gregarious.
It's attached to your statement.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Well,
Gregarious would bring
Yeah,
the difficulty down
yeah.
by 1, if that makes you feel any better. So you actually hit it if you use a gregarious.
Sure, actually, I'll just use
Mixing up
gregarious
Fabio
then.
Alto with a tune, I see.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I never do that. So you ask around. A lot of people don't know what you're talking about. Some people just don't want to talk about with some traveler. But then again, you get the feeling everyone here's a traveler, so everyone has a reason to have their hoods up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get this vibe that at least 4 people in this room are familiar with what happened. Like, they're evading you. They're staying away from you. They might say something to you if you force the issue, but they try to keep to themselves. At least 4 people in here have information. You do have a comp. Do you wish to suffer it, or do you want to buy it off with threat?
I'll buy it off with threat.
Okay. So yeah, they're just avoiding you just because you're asking questions. Like, it's obvious they don't want to answer. Like, there are people in here who have information, they're just not telling. They're purposely not saying anything. Other people don't seem to know what you're talking about, because part of it is that it's a fight from like days away. Like, they'd have to go way out of the way to get into it. Some people do mention, well, you know, they heard a few people came from the north not that long ago, the other day. Other than that, they haven't heard anything about shootings or fights in the woods or anything like that. Beyond like normal, you know, idiot smugglers who go out in the woods and get attacked by the deep wood. You know, that happens, but that's not unusual. But the kind of thing you're talking about, yeah, most people don't know. Haven't heard about it. One of those people who looked like they knew something kind of steps out of the cantina, if you will, off somewhere.
It helps if I unmute myself. Sorry about that. I was saying I'm gonna follow that person, which might not be wise, but whatever. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Give me move opposed. Like, sorry, are you trying to? I'll put it another way. Are you trying to catch up to them, like you run after and confront them, or are you just trying to shadow them?
Shadow them.
I'll say discipline instead. Or move. Actually, move has stealth in it, so move or discipline. I'm buying a full mitt. This person does not want to be followed.
I'm gonna go with discipline.
There's an AP.
And I shall also buy a full man.
Cool.
Does my shadow weave cloak help me?
Yes, it gives you. I'll give you a free hit.
Sweet. Three. Jeez Louise.
Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hits. Versus your 2. Your 3.
I'm gonna spend determination because I did not spend my determination previously, since I was using gregarious instead.
And your duty statement does apply. You'll do what you
Yeah.
must in service of house and people.
So I'm gonna re-roll the 3 that were not successful.
Yep. The 3 that were not 60s. Wow, I was starting to hear.
Successful.
Good
4.
golly.
Damn it. Oh well, I don't succeed.
You lose them. Or they lose you, rather. Wish to buy off that complication you have?
Yes.
You lose them as you try to follow them through the town. Because it gets to a point where you basically have to run after them. Like across the main thoroughfare. But that would be obvious. You'd give yourself away immediately. But because I will say you do notice that the 3 other people seem to be starting to follow after you. They're not making it terribly subtle that they're starting to walk in your direction. Not running, but they're starting to walk after you.
All right.
That's when you see 3 Moonshadow people kind of almost like coming out of the crowd. They just kind of stand in their way. And one of them holds out a crystal to you.
I'll take the crystal.
You recognize as one of the Moonshadow coated crystals.
Ah.
Like a memory quarter, but in a different form.
I'll attempt to decipher it.
It tells you that the grandmother of the Moonshadows wants to speak with you, and tells you which of the habitats they want you, which of the habs they want you to go to.
All right, I'll go to that hab then. After trying to lose these 3.
Oh, don't worry. These 3 aren't going to be able to follow you.
Okay.
As they get confronted by very angry-looking tribespeople who are like, hey, "What are you doing? What's going on? Get out of our way!" No, you need to be in a hurry. And it's obvious that they're trying not to start a fight out in the open. So it's whereas the Moonshadows can tell that, like, "Oh, we'll just stand in your way and be annoying." "Oh, well, you want to go right? Oh no, you want to go left?" "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." Yeah. Then we swivel back in time, and back to a certain rather tense conversation at the Bellessa farming estates.
Erica says, "You do make much of the decline of the Empire. Imperium. But it is you that told me that originally.
And I did not lie. And again, it is not so much a decline as a cataclysm.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take extreme measures to protect against a problem that only you have divined, with a solution that only you understand. Find the answer if you want to, and if the wood is not yet burned when you learn it, you'll have the chance to prove it to me. But I leave from here to unite all of this system under my control, all of its atomics under my control, to burn this forest. And if I'm wrong and the Emperor declares Beleza to be destroyed, then I will throw myself at his feet.
I cannot stop you from making this terrible mistake. But I urge you once again to work with me to test this entity. And if it fails the test, then yes, the forest is destroyed, the world is destroyed, and it with it. But
I give you the chance to make your test and present what you find.
And if I manage to convince you, but not Valorian or Malvolus or the
I
rest,
said that they will be under my control. How is it that I'm to trust you to find the truth of the root of human extinction, but you cannot trust me to manage noble lords?
Very well. First, I must gain control of the bioweapon. So if you will excuse me, I must to the forest. And Joanna will oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead and deactivate the damper.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you've deactivated the dampener, Erica will say, actually, I guess she won't. Erica will look like she wants to say a lot, but has nothing to say in particular.
Fair enough. So yeah, Joanna will head out in her forest weave, and I'm going to try and get a group of wind whispers for an escort and to help me move quickly through the forest to find the moon shadows. Let's see, what is... Need to get control of the bioweapon.
I will need communicate difficulty 2 to basically create the asset of a Wind Whisper Ranger escort.
Okay. Communicate. I'm gonna say communicate faith, because that's really where Joanna is acting on, and the faith that she's doing the right thing.
Yep.
Let me give you a 3 threat for 4. Don't really want to whiff this. Do I have this communicate? Don't think that really applies. Whew, just made it.
Yeah, you're able to get the message out among the people who work here, and then very quickly, some rangers who are meandering around, like, in the sense that they usually patrol anyway. Rangers kind of act like marshals for the wood. So it's like, oh, well, Silvanus Johanna Rashid needs an escort. Well, okay, let's make an ad hoc posse and kind of form up to give a detail for you.
Right.
It's a quality 0. It's because it's kind of, they don't really normally work together, but you know, they still have the traits of a ranger.
Well, I'm hoping that will like cut my travel time, because it says in my notes that they're known for their expertise in navigating the forests. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll definitely be able to save you time. Moon shadows are good at being hard to find. The wind whispers can practically race through the woods.
Cool.
Where are you going? Where do you want to go, I should say?
I think I want to find the clan mother of the moon shadows first.
Well, move. This move is at all possible because you won't waste time. If you go, they'll go to the wrong place first because they'll think the same thing you do. Oh, they must be here. This is their. Oh, maybe it's their other territory. Or maybe they're in their winter territory. Where the hell are they? And start looking. It's like, well, they must have gone somewhere. Let's go here. Let's go stop at this small town somewhere, and we'll ask questions there because I don't know where they're hiding. Maybe someone's heard that they went somewhere south or whatever. So it is going to be a move. It is going to be a difficulty of 3.
Okay. I think truth will apply here since I'm trying to figure out where they are. I don't think stealth really helps me here or applies. You said diff 3?
Yep.
Oof, I'm going to have to give you some threat here, I think. I'm under super time constraint, so let's give you 6 for a full bit.
Whoa.
Do have a comp that looks like I did make it with 1 momentum gained, and I'll give you 2 threat to quash the comp.
All right. So, you will, we'll catch up with you in a moment as you'll arrive hilariously at the meeting. When Moonshadow goes to meet with the clan mother, you'll be arriving because you were slightly behind her. It's like, what? Well, how did I get here ahead of the Wind Whispers? Well, they wasted time checking every other place the Moonshadows go. Because it would have been, they get you there and like, well, we have to stop because there's guards here. We don't want to start a fight. Well, you can go in. You walk in, they're not there. It's just an empty field.
Right.
Oh, well, shoot. They're not here. Keep going until eventually let's just go to this. Let's go over Vernalis Hollow and we'll find out what we can find.
Cool.
While that's all going on, Falsgraf and Erica III of House Belezzo. What terrible choices do you have to make at this point?
I need to send out, I guess, 12 messages. But only really 2 different, maybe 3 different contents. The first one is to Nightshade, and I guess essentially I don't know if I'm activating her because technically I'll need the use of one of her assets. I have her as an asset, but I don't have her asset as an asset, so that's
Right.
Oh, in fact, I think I need at the end of this episode I'll give her another asset because I realized I gave back the orbital military base, but she has that as an asset, so I'll have
Yeah.
I'll have to replace that.
What do you mean?
So I don't know whether I owe you the moment, the thread or not.
Are you using the asset for this role?
I'm not. I need it to logically exist. I don't know that I
Narratively, it can
need it to
exist
roll.
until it's attached to the role. I'm not gonna sweat it.
Okay, because she has a battleship, so it's basically with the support of the condemned, load the atomics onto your battleship. Here's, or no, not even here's the code. My consort has the code, right? And no one is to know of this except for you, Galia, and the senior officers of the condemned and the battleship as needed for logistical reasons. And to also see that Pelotti and Galia and Alfonso and Sebastian, if he happens to be on world, are loaded onto that battleship as well as the condemned once you've achieved this mission. Basically, it's put everything important, including our entire ability to make war and our atomics, on that battleship and get that battleship in orbit of the capital of Salutaris yesterday.
I'm gonna treat this as a battle rule. Difficulty.
And
you want it quickly, so I'm gonna call it difficulty. You have the right stuff. I'll call it difficulty 3.
Okay, and I don't know if any of this difficulty is coming because of, or complication might come from what this may mean to other people seeing the battleship, but I plan to send messages to those people, so.
This is making sure that they're in position, they're not delayed, you know. You're making sure the orders are very clear about, like, this isn't an exercise, this is for real. If I'm being vague, it's because I have to be, because this isn't coded. We can't code communications easily. So all it takes is one mentat, 5 minutes to break a human's code. So here, do this. I'm being vague. Fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is like a war plan green or something where it doesn't tell you what you will be using the atomics on Salutaris for. It's just like, in any case, we have to do this. This is the plan, right?
Yeah.
Because then you don't need an endless number of plans. You need like 3 plans. Load the battleship with atomics for Agrestis, load it for Salutaris, or load it for the moon, our moon, right?
Yeah. I'll also add that the higher difficulty is to make sure that Nightshade doesn't, in the orders, Nightshade doesn't get pushback from Galia or Sebastiano even. Well, hold on, wait a minute. Why are you doing this? No. This is really Erica. It's her orders. I'm not just messing with you. I'm not trying to steal your atomics.
I would point out that not only do I have Galia as an asset, but Galia has the talent Unquestionable Loyalty.
But that's to you. That's to you, not Nightshade.
Okay.
You're sending the message to her to go arrange this, and it's like, Believe me, but you're a cultist. No, really, I know I'm loading atomics onto a battleship and putting it in orbit where I could shoot at the people I hate, but I'm following orders.
Yeah, I'm asking. Yeah, Galia doesn't know this, but the reason I'm asking Nightshade is because I know she'll do what I tell her, because she wants to do what I'm telling
Yeah.
her.
You want me to park atomics over the Savannah Woods? Sure, I'm cool with that. Let's glass the entire thing. Burn the heretic, so forth.
Yeah.
Purge the Xenos. Long live the Empire. That sort of thing.
Hey, I was against it till someone said the literal devil was in the woods controlling the tribes. I thought the Will of Silvanus was some like weird alien thing, and I was gonna be like, okay, well, we can see what this is about, but a Cymek, like the literal devil. All right.
Yeah, I looked it up. Technically, they're not the literal devil.
Well,
They were the first humans. They were the first humans enslaved by the thinking machines.
No, the thinking, I guess, in the sense that they were offered immortality, and decided that was cool.
No, that's not how it happened. They had transformed to Cymex, but they got lazy because they didn't want to be bothered with running things. So they developed AI, and then the first thing that the thinking machine, the AI, did was take them over. So I mean, they got enslaved for the most human reason possible.
But the most powerful Cymex are the Titans, and they were tyrants in their own right without considering AI.
Yeah, but then the AIs took them over. But I mean, they were human tyrants. They weren't actually machine minds. They were humans with enormous power and long lives, and they got lazy and invented AI, and that's where the thinking machines came from. I'm not saying the Titans were good. I'm just saying the Titans were bad people.
and there's some secret history that unless Erica made a rule, she wouldn't know. There's something I could say that adds to this, but that would require a special knowledge of 10,000-year-old history that almost no one knows.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, kind of however you look at it, though, the most powerful Cymex are responsible for the problem that we hate the most.
Right. I'm just saying that they were human when they did it. So. And,
well, I have killed.
If we start throwing around how we have to kill all the tyrants, then we get really dangerous.
No, but I've killed humans for lesser crimes.
Yeah, that's I'm just saying they're probably not really technically classifiable as thinking machines.
Duty, I think. Take a moment. Focus in strategy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can I use a determination on a reroll? Is that a thing you can do?
If your duty statement applies.
The house serves me and I them.
Yep. Yep. That spirit of service is that the that drive kind of pushes through into Nightshade, and she's able to basically parrot that exact phrase, and kind of demonstrating her loyalty. She's like, no, I'm following order. She's demonstrating her loyalty because she's also eager to follow the order. But that said, both Sebastiana and Franca are both like, Okay, she's not full of crap. This is for real. Okay, let's get on the damn ship. We don't like her a bunch, but whatever. She's not full of crap. This is whatever this is serious. Because yeah, that's part of the hesitation as well. Is that atomics being loaded at all is, even as a drill, is an oh god thing. The fact that you're not ordering it kind of makes people a little nervous, but they're willing to follow Nate's shade on her, on your orders.
The next letter is to the Duke of Agrestis, which is to activate his fleet to send them to rendezvous with my flagship, which is Gallia's flagship, that I'm calling in his oath of fealty and loyalty to me. I have his answer.
This will be communicate are you getting him to load up atomics or just move his armies into his fleet into orbit?
That
just changes how difficult it is to get him to move.
I think I want him to bring the atomics. The only thing I'm afraid of is if I say to do that, he might jump the gun and just come nuke the planet. Because he knows if I'm saying load the atomics, basically I would only ask him to do that if this role included convincing him not to jump the gun.
Okay, that puts it to difficulty 5, communication.
Okay.
It was gonna be diff 4 if you were trying to not have that add-on, but diff 5 to get.
No, I know it. I know. Because basically there's no way to get him to come unless I say, yes, you were right, bring the atomics. And if I do that, he's likely to just go nuke the planet, and that's not what I want. Well, I do want that, but I want him to swear fealty to me first. So, personality trait, just. This is an agreement that we both had, and I think Just would go to say that he knows he can trust me.
Yep.
And I think this is communicate justice, right?
That's why you're doing it. Yep. Agree.
Gonna bring in the holographic artwork of Pain because he knows the extreme lengths that I will go to do things the right way.
Hold on. That has no effect upon it.
Well, the thought process there is right. He has to be worried that if I'm jumping the gun, I'm going to get his house annihilated, right? So
the traits of that artwork do not seem to speak to him.
Okay.
There are things that he values that you don't. Let's just say justice isn't the first thing on his mind. Just bring it to diff 4 though, because you're just straight.
All right, then since I'm communicating with another noble courtier.
Yep, there's a way to talk to a duke. 3.
I will give you a threat.
Okay. Threat.
Focus on diplomacy.
Yep. Oh.
Thank God. I can't afford to give you so much more threats. I was like, I can't afford to buy dice here, and I have 2 8s, so this is the best chance I can get. I really had to take a leap of faith there for a character that doesn't have much faith.
Well, you got the Malvola's fleet in motion.
All right, the next letter is to this is a joint letter to the Dukes Agrestis and Valerian, which is basically, after your coronation, we spoke that the supreme concern of all of us was the advancement of Salutaris, Agrestis, and what's the other one?
Silvanus.
Silvanus. Sorry, that was the one that I was looking for the most. It is in grave danger, and although our particular agreement can no longer be met, you shall have seen that it was capable of being met. I have already arranged for the Duke of Agrestis to mobilize his fleet directly in service to me. I have activated our houses and his house's atomics. I will be coming to meet you, where I hope you will see that I need your family's support to protect this world. I will explain the details when I arrive. But basically, I have to key them up before I even get there to know whether or not they're going to fall in line.
I can tell you there's no way to know that until you arrive. They'll give you radio silence on that sort of message. They'll wait for you to arrive at the palace.
No, okay, let me rephrase it. I don't need to know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I need them to know the answer. And for them to know the answer, they have to know that I asked them. So,
Not sure
I don't know. There may not be a role for that, but I need to tell them I'm coming and I want you to bend the knee because of what I'm going to tell you. I've already got half the system mobilized, right? And I need them to know the answer themselves before I get there.
I need an understanding difficulty 2 from you.
All right. Have anything to do with advanced technology or botany?
No, not in particular.
Okay.
Worth asking though.
Don't really know what it's about, so justice and power are obviously always my big suggestions.
This is knowledge about the law, justice.
Trade of just?
Yeah.
Trade of courtier?
Yeah, given how the system works, yeah.
Okay.
Because the Farfel Fetcher system is the legal system. The nobles are the law. For good and ill. Mostly ill. You got one momentum ahead of it. You before you send this message, you realize that threat sounds hollow because you can't threaten military engagement without Canley first. So even if you parked every ship in the sky, you can threaten I'm going to murder you and risk Great Convention violation just to seize control in a Moritani sense. Or you need to and given what you're going through, what you're mobilizing this for, you would have to prove to them that there's an existential threat. That it's like, I'm not threatening you. If you try to threaten, I have bigger guns, bow down. He can just run. He can send one ship off to Kaitan, and you're the new villain of the Imperium.
Yeah, that then I'll have it reworded because I'm not my intention is not to threaten him. Um, directly. I'm not saying that if you don't bend the knee, I'm going to destroy you. It
Says the guy with
is
atomics and 2 different ships.
yeah, but it's one thing for him to misinterpret. It's another thing to assume that I'm telling him
Yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify that. I
I
was
will
like,
not
I'm
have it.
pretty sure you don't mean what I think is going on, so.
No, the intention is the intention is to say that I'm mobilizing military force to solve a problem. I want you to be part of the solution, and that requires following me right, but I don't do anything to say that they're the problem or that they're the target.
There is a, you can say, that you can say all that. I don't think you even need a roll to say I want to meet you. I need an urgent audience at the Palace of Silvanus. Like I need to talk to you, Steward, about something super important. And here's why. I'll explain in more detail why I should be the steward. This is a big deal, but I need to talk to you now. And by the way, just no surprises. I'm mobilizing my entire army. You might want to as well. Heads up.
Yeah, that's the intention.
Yeah.
I guess the only reason that I would have thought that a role might be needed at all was to convey so that they know when I get there the prime discussion is going to be if they're ready to follow us or not. Because I'm confident that if I could convince him that there's a thinking machine that he'd load up on the atomics as well. I'm not convinced that that's going to be a difficult sell.
If it was any other noble lord, you'd probably have to roll because they might want to have like a conclave meeting and talk with all their architects and this stuff. But Eric Valorian is very eager to meet with someone who says they should be the next steward because that's his whole platform, really.
Okay, well then we're off to meet. Just jumping in the ornithopter and going as fast as it'll flap its wings to the capital.
So that's where you're going. Forward, Alice to grab a lady because she'd be there.
Never gotten to nuke anything before. Is this my Cisco moment?
Silvanus. But the next scene, as you're racing off to the Palace of Silvanus, is to Varnalis Hollow. Where Silvanus Johanna Mashid and the Ritter Marshal Mill Moonshadow meet with the clan mother of the Moonshadows. Yeah, Mill, you actually see that Johanna arrives with a full, escorted by a Wind Whisper Ranger detachment, or a regular force, maybe more apt, who look very surprised that about how many Moonshadows are here. They were like, they have the look of, we'll go to a small little town, we'll get something to drink, we'll figure out what we're gonna do next. Oh, here you are. Wow, there's a lot of you. Okay. Here they are. We'll just hang around here, I guess. Can we set up a tent? We can? Okay, that's cool. This is very weird. Why are there so many of you?
Yes. So I will tell the Moon Shadows that I request an audience with their clan mother.
And they direct you to her enclosure, and that's where you'll find Mill Moonshadow sitting with the clan mother Moonshadow. Like Mill, you probably like just got a chance to sit down to meet with her, and then that's when Johanna Rashid steps in.
Ah, Mill. Clan mother. My thanks for seeing me at such short notice, and my apologies for coming upon you unexpectedly. But time is short, and the planet and Silvanus itself are threatened.
What does Mill say during this encounter?
Mill will say, "Oh, Reverend Mother, I was not expecting to see you here."
Yes, the situation is rather intense. Our liege is preparing to make a disastrous mistake.
The clan mother Moonshadow peers between the two of you. Takes a deep breath. Young Mill Moonshadow. I must ask you of something.
Hmm?
You have been raised in the shadow of the moon, taught its mysteries, shown the secret paths and ways. But you now rest upon one of the moons upon which we learned secrets, and serve one of its masters. I must ask now, if you stand with Salutaris, or with the will of Silvanus. I'll note you feel no heat, no anger. It seems almost like a informational question. Like, before anything else, I have to check something real quick. Which is a very Moonshadow way to ask something. They don't get heated about stuff. It's just facts and numbers and figures. Everything's an asset.
Nope.
Be measured.
Mill will frown a bit and say, "I am not sure that they must be opposed."
In these very moments, the Masters of the Moons mobilize their navies. And in them, the greatest terror humanity has made. You may have to make that choice, young man.
Mill blanches a bit.
Silvanus Johanna Rashid, I am mother of no clan. I've never liked you. I've never trusted you. And I didn't trust your predecessor. But that's my job. You're not from here. You're not of the wood. Yet you are. A fact that I will suffer because I have to, as the will of Silvanus demands. Your blood is of Beleza. Very blood who, of all things, I was about to deliver the cloak of stewardship. who now seems to be arraying forces of our most sacred work. So please explain to me, humble old woman, why in the will of Silvanus's grace I should listen to a word you have to say. How do I not know you are more the spy master Beleza, not or the defender and teacher of Silvanus's will?
Because whatever may come, I will not leave the planet's surface.
You actually need to give a communicate roll. There was no communicate roll required for Milk. She had dual loyalty. That's why I was checking.
Yeah.
It's like, will she even... She'll just take care of your word? Okay. Like, wait, what? Yeah, sure. Just letting you know. But for you, it's like, you don't share my loyalties. We're the same faction, but we're not the same... You don't serve the tribes. I do. Well, I mean, no, we're not enemies yet. Communication difficulty of 3.
I'm going to say truth.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. 3. I'll give you 3 momentum for 4. And a prayer. Neurolinguistics.
Yeah.
Kind of underline that I'm telling the truth. There we go.
And game gained 1. His Willa shield, his canopy, our sacred house. Fine. I'll listen to you, Johanna Merchid. Part of why I was summoning you, young Mill, is... I'll explain in a moment, but something tells me the clan mother of no clan has urgent need of our attention.
It is time for Silvanus to undergo the testing. If he does not, then the forces of the Imperium, as represented by my liege and others, will rain down atomics upon the wood. But we have the opportunity to demonstrate the humanity of Silvanus and its purpose, and thereby to prevent a Holocaust, and through this testing and this harrowing, unite all of the people of Silvanus and its system.
What do you need me for? That is the will of Silvanus is your purview. I merely see the secrets and shadows.
I need the bioweapon.
The clan mother looks at Mill.
Mill looks very confused.
She looks back at Johanna. You already have her.
What?
What?
She smiles. Why would you think I would hide something so close to us? No, we don't hide in safes or in floorboards. We take it to our graves if need. Send it far and apart. That which would frustrate the will of Silvanus resides in the gene coding of...
Damn it, we're gonna have to spin to activate the doctor.
You can't. We didn't pay for him.
So you'd have to do a roll to get him to... Or a wealth asset to pay him. It's like, here's money. Do a house call. I guess I was in the middle of something. I was playing cards. I was having fun. Young Mill, I sent you to one of our sacred moons. For in your genes resides the desperation of the outskirts. The will of Silvanus, as much as the clan mother of no clan has assured us repeatedly, has the best interests of all of us in the tribes. The moon trusts nothing, but the sun would. I trusted that particular secret with you. Besides, you always seem to have a particular fascination with Salutaris, so it was a thing to do. But do not let them touch you if you don't trust Billet or her. If you think they are fooling us, then you know what you must do. Think they're worth trusting, then do what thou will.
I will look over at Johanna and ask, what are you planning?
Do you know of the reality of the entity called Silvanus?
GM, do I? I'm guessing no.
You know him like, that's like saying, do you know the father of the wood and what he truly is? Like, well, I know who the father of the wood is. Asking a druid, asking someone who Mother Earth is, like, well, I know that. Not knowing that Mother Earth is actually a big mainframe in the center of Earth or something. It's like, well, I don't know that. I just know the religious thing.
I will give a very brief overview of the legend. That's all I know.
Well, the truth as it would be viewed by the Imperium is that in the deepest deep of the forest of Silvanus, and merged somehow with that forest in will and self, lies one of the original Cymex, who while its fellows became titans and ultimately unleashed the thinking machines upon humanity, forswore such ambitions and autocratic powers to settle here beyond the far reaches of the frontier at that point, well before the Empire, the Second Imperium, and devote itself to creating this place and this system as a place where humanity could flourish alongside nature and both become better and healthier because of that relationship. I have known this since my investiture as the Reverend Mother. I have spoken with this entity directly, as few have. I, as a Bene Gesserit, we are perhaps not the most trusting, and I look over at the Moonshadow Mother, or trustworthy of sisterhoods. So, I believe that we must ensure that this entity is human in the most core sense. One thing the sisterhood does is to test that. It tests humanity, and we do it well. But the test is brutal. An animal will retreat and flinch from pain, even if the result of that retreat is death. And so we inflict pain while holding the threat of immediate death over an entity. And if the entity flinches, it is nothing but an animal, and so is put down. Whereas if the entity is human, it will withstand the pain in order to avoid a much greater consequence. In this case, I believe I have discovered the manner in which we may test Silvanus. Your blood apparently contains the consequence, the death that looms over that which is tested. I and some others are the pain. Being deeply connected with Silvanus by inflicting agonies upon myself, I believe I will inflict agonies upon the machine. Now, I look over at the clan mother and go, this, of course, would be more effective if I were not the only source of pain, but I'm willing to be that, even if it means my death, no matter what, to give Silvanus the opportunity to prove its humanity. If we can do that, I believe Erica can be convinced that Silvanus, both the entity and the system, is our greatest hope against the coming cataclysm, which will see the Empire die in fire and flame. In a cataclysm which begins in 20 years, perhaps sooner. But that is coming. But we are out of time because unless we can provide such proof, our liege is already assembling the family atomics in orbit and will attempt to eradicate all life on this planet without further ado. But she assures me that if I can present proof of what I say, then this can be avoided and the system can be united. But as the clan mother says, this is your choice. I know that you have seen me most as spy master of House Beleza. In this case, and in all honesty, I do not act and move now as spy master, as Reverend Mother, as clan mother with no clan, again a glance to the clan mother, but because I believe that if Silvanus is indeed human, it represents the best chance for every human in this system, and perhaps beyond, to survive and thrive and prosper in the coming age. And beyond anything, that is my oath. That is what I follow. The survival and prosperity of humanity. That is what I serve. That is what I've always served. And I just kind of stop.
I'll look over at the clan mother and say, well, what has to happen?
You must become an imbiber of the tea and share it, Johanna, in the manner in which one normally reserves for marital. Through that exchange, her ability to control self, she will be able to transmogrify it to poison. But this must be done in deepest deep or a poison closest to the heart has the most expediency. Doing it here, for example, like intense poison at a fingertip. Dangerous in time, but your tests would take weeks, if not months, to finish. Whereas I get the feeling we have mere days, at least, if not hours.
Indeed, but this means that I am the Gom Jabbar, not the box. There is another who can serve this purpose, but it is a tremendous boon to ask.
There is one other thing, my mother no claim. You can create it, but for the pain to speak of, you must allow it to pain you. Indeed, this poison is meant to devastate a world. In mere minutes, it will devastate your body. Even should you survive, if you've survived, you will be forever changed. But it is very possible you perish in your successful.
Well, one can do worse than perish in search of the truth. Will you come, Mill Moonshadow? Will you help me test Silvanus?
The alternative is certain death for everything I hold dear, so yes.
Be aware that should Silvanus fail the test, that is the same alternative.
If I were you,
So be it.
If I were you, I would not communicate that particular secret to the Wind Whispers. I am very understanding of the mysteries and sacred places. Wind Whispers are far more material and imperial in their connections. They make a bit more resistant.
Understood. They can move us towards the deepest deep faster than anyone else, though. Clan Mother, I request that the Clan Mothers gather in the sacred space in the deep to await the outcome. Should I die, the Clan Mothers will need to reach out to the Sisterhood, or I would suggest, what is her name? Valorian. There are no names there. I know I can go to the Chronicles. Valorian. Sorry, I'm having to find a name.
Who are you thinking? Like, describe who they are. I might know who you're.
The consort to Arconis Valorian, Seraphina.
Yeah, Lady Seraphina.
Lady Seraphina, yeah. So I just couldn't find the name there for my life. I would suggest Lady Seraphina to be the ideal successor to me as Reverend Mother, should such become necessary. But in any event, the Clan Mothers should be close enough to witness.
Very well. It shall be done.
Mill, we have no time to waste.
Let's go.
And I'd look to the Wind Whisper escort and go.
Well, before you step away, as you're starting to walk away, Clan Mother Moonshadow says, by the way, the reason I summoned Mill Moonshadow in the first place was because the Cloak of Stewardship is currently not in the Palace of Silvanus, but in the possession of the local merchant here in town. So if you wish to gain a special favor with the Duke Valorian, or perhaps uplift different noble, say one that has your blood, you may need to possess that cloak at some point before it leaves system.
But what do I know about this cloak? Is this an actual, like, article of clothing?
It's one of the raiments of the stewardship.
Oh. What the hell's a merchant doing with it? Well, and you say it is here in Vernalis Hollow.
Yes.
Well, we will need to gather supplies for our journey, particularly if we make a fast one. So we have some time to try and retrieve this cloak. I assume Chome is the merchant you speak of that's representative here.
He works for them, yes. He's the current local directorate for this facility. Minor director. Tobias Varon.
I thank you for your assistance, Clan Mother, and your honesty. I hope that in future, assuming I have one, I may prove more worthy of your trust.
Be
And
born a
perhaps even
moonchild
your
and I might
friendship.
trust you.
Friendship, then.
Friendship
And
is a
then-
tool upon which we turn the keys of power.
Truly a clan of spy masters.
Smiles.
And then, yeah, let's go see if we can't swaggle a cloak out of this Chome guy. Swaggle? I didn't even know that. Swindle and haggle combined? Swaggle?
Meanwhile, at the Palace of Silvanus.
What is this John Williams music playing?
You
You have
shut
a
your
bad
mouth
guy?
while John Williams plays.
Yeah, I'm getting Imperial March themes here.
So you meet at the Palace of Silvanus before Duke Eric Valerian, the ducal consort Theron Arconis, and the Lady Seraphina, the consort. The consort, I should.
I'm hoping the Duke of Agrestis is here.
I didn't know if you asked him to be here. Sorry, he could be here. That's not a big deal
Yeah.
for him.
No, his support for me, rather than Valorian, is kind of important.
Falsgrafen Eric III of House Beleza, Duke Corvin Malvolus. This must be of utmost urgency for you both, for our moon nobles to be summoning us all together like this.
Eric will say, it is of imperial importance. I have received reports that what others may call the will of Silvanus may more accurately be called a Cymek. Those who threatened us with annihilation at the hands of the machines have sought refuge here.
Eric looks just completely floored. Like, he was expecting a very different conversation, and he's just completely, he can't believe what he's hearing. Lady Seraphina looks concerned, but she maintains composure. It's Duke Arconis that actually speaks up, just breaking the silence for a second. Falsgrafen and Erica, what evidence do you have of such a terrible thing? You surely would not say such a thing lightly. You're a very serious woman.
I was told this by the Reverend Mother, the only person who has access to the location this being should be at. And they are currently in transit to confirm with absolute certainty that it is the case. So, I have more proof than could ever have been gathered by any other means, but not absolute proof yet. But I don't come here asking for any action to be taken until that final proof has arrived. But it is a situation that does not allow us to wait for proof. We must be ready to act on the information as soon as it is revealed.
Why do we not instead just annihilate the entire forest? Why risk anything?
I'll turn to Malvolus and in a very admonishing way say, I don't know what you feel the lesson taught by our faith about the thinking machines and those who were so blind as to allow their creation. But it is not a story told simply because their failures in the thinking machines are inherently problems and inherently evil. It's because of what they did to other humans that they are evil. I will not become one of them by burning millions in the forests and on this planet simply because it was expedient. For then, why would I waste my time just to eliminate someone so evil as myself?
Surely these collaborators of evil will array themselves. They'll begin shielding their master. Every moment we use not firing our missiles is a moment they may have to repel us or attack us.
If one assumes, unlike the Duke Arconis, that what I say is the absolute, undeniable truth, and even I do not claim that.
The cult warned us of this. They warned us that the tribes were hiding a secret. I thought it was just for some bioweapon to devastate our economy, but this is an evil beyond the pale.
We don't know if they were right, and they were so zealous that they didn't even want to know if they were right. Do not think for a second that they wouldn't have gutted you and burned you alive if they thought it was expedient. They would do to you what you intend to do to the forest.
Arconis kind of clears his throat, which gets Corvin to kind of give him a glare, and then Theron just meets the glare, like, go ahead, say something to me. And he just kind of stands at attention, remembering, oh, right, he knows the difference in their rank, so he looks irritated about it. He looks over at you and just smiles and nods. So what is it you ask of us? To do as your fleets have done so far, Palsgrafen? To prepare for devastation? But not unleash it.
Because of what that means, I alone have access to the source of truth, though I will share it with you. And because if that truth must be acted upon, only remnants of your house will exist. That you allow me to take stewardship, at least until the Emperor can reevaluate the situation.
Why would stewardship be a requirement? A war master serves their lord just as easily without being the lord themselves.
Because, like I said, if there's no use for the weapons, perhaps that is true, but if there's use for the weapons, House Valorian and Arconis will no longer be in a position to guide this planet. This planet won't even be something worth guiding.
Eric kind of looks over at Theron, and Theron kind of looks back at him. Leah Serafina kind of looks between them all, and they kind of... There's this unspoken look among the three of them. Like, they're not saying anything, but you can tell they're communicating among themselves. Much how you and Galia tend to talk to each other a lot these days. These last few months, you've had to be a lot more active and a lot more speedy in how you think about things.
If it helps me at all understand something, I have the focus innuendo.
You're getting a sense that they're, without rolling, you can get a sense that they're evaluating something. They're evaluating you. Among themselves. Corbin Malvolis is a known factor. They know what he is and what, because they, but you are an unknown. So they're trying to work out what you are to them. Because they only have 4 months of interaction with you since, other than your childhood memories, and that's not terribly helpful at the moment. The fact that you happen to like playing with frogs is irrelevant to the current conversation, you know?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about, is there anything I've left unsaid or undone that's going to matter here? Because I know a huge thing to convince Valorian was increasing the productivity of the woods, and I've done that as much as possible, but given this evidence, there was no way to wait for that process to finish. And I have brought Malvolis to heal in a way that they couldn't. Is there anything else left that Erica can say, or is it Erica just have to wait to see what they think about what she's already done?
Understanding difficulty fairly high. It's not that hard. Just higher than 2, I know. I'm gonna call it difficulty. Understand difficulty. It's not like a super secret. It's just a weird quirk of your situation.
All right. And it probably depends more on... I don't know if this depends on Erica's view or their view, but justice or power or duty.
It's based on your view. Why would you care about this information?
Okay, then it's justice, because although Erica does value power and duty, justice matters more than everything. Like, Erica doesn't want to be the steward because that brings power. Erica wants to be the steward because she thinks that is the best way to ensure the prosperity and safety of this world, which is what its inhabitants deserve from their overlords. Take a momentum.
Certainly. Good God, this episode got a lot more intense than I thought it was. I didn't know the revelation was going to happen today, so I knew it was going to happen at some point. It's like, oh crap.
Oh no! We were chugging along, getting into conspiracy, but someone there threw gas on the fire, and
Corby says he's running Powered by the Apocalypse next. We have to close this out.
oh, I see what it is. I'm gonna nuke us into playing Traveler. All right. Personality trait of just.
Yeah, that would matter. That would matter to this question, I should.
Asset of the holographic artwork of pain, because its keywords are holographic justice and pain. they know I will sacrifice myself for.
I will take
justice.
it on the basis that you seem to be a person not just you are preoccupied with the concept of justice to such a degree you're able to make masterworks on the concept through sculpture.
All right, I will keep that for bonus momentum.
Okay.
Because I think this is down to diff 2. Land rights. I don't stand to lose nearly as much as them, but I do stand to personally lose in a way that if Malvolus was the one asking this, he doesn't.
No, that wouldn't apply here. It's more a knowledge. There's a unique quirk of your situation that you're trying to figure out.
Okay.
It's I would say it's something that's not occurring to them at the moment, just because of the revelation you gave them. It's kind of throwing their brains out of whack. They're like, "Whoa, holy crap, Cymac! That's
Right. That looks like a success with 1 momentum and 4 bonus.
Boo. So, if you have to nuke the planet, even if it's just the forest, that's the economy of Silvanus. So, like you said, their houses would be ruined. If they existed, they'd probably drop to minor if they're lucky, nascent if they're unlucky, or just absolutely destroyed. If they have to nuke everything. So if you became the Steward of Silvanus, I would add to warn you that, and this may be a comfort to them in a weird way, that you would become Steward of Silvanus, but you wouldn't be a major house because you'd be you'd control too little territory for the Landsride to take you seriously, because the world that you would take over is devastated with nuclear fire. So there's that aspect to it, that even it's not like you're doing this, I'm going to nuke your planet just so I can get stewardship. Like, well, that won't work. If anything, if I'm right, whoever the steward is, they're screwed. Like, there's no good way this comes out if I'm right. Other than we defended humanity.
If I'm right, we're not going to suddenly have 4 dukes. We're going to have 1 false Graffin and 1 former duke.
Yeah.
Then
the other aspect to it is that's the big thing that you haven't mentioned, that it hasn't occurred to them because they're thinking about other stuff. The other half I would say is these are things you'll have to answer for. If you've taken the stewardship, you would have to take it. You'd have to answer for it at the Landsrad, one way or the other.
I'm gonna have to go to Kaitan, knowing that there's a more than decent chance they'll just execute me and then come destroy my house.
Yeah. That's kind of why they want like a bleeding gun, a bleeding gun, smoking gun. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Bleeding knife. Anyway, if they don't have a smoking gun evidence of what you're saying, then yeah, they might just nuke your house because they think you just Great Convention violated. That's why they're like, we're not sure. But then again, Arconis is taking you seriously. Get the feeling he knows he's had time to learn about you, so he has a good idea that you're not someone who just likes blowing stuff up. You know, you're not Malvolus. If Malvolus was saying this, he'd say, no, we're not doing this. You're out of your mind. You saying this makes him concerned. Whether Valorian believes you, you're not sure what his hang-up is. Like, there's some other thing that he isn't saying at the moment. And Lady Seraphina has the look to her that she's gonna say something to solidify the situation. She isn't saying anything yet because she is a consort, she's a noble, but she's not a duke. Like, she's not a ruler. So she's having a hard time. She's trying not to jump over people. Because she's not even like a Reverend Mother. Like, Reverend Mothers could get away with that, or a Truth Seer. She's a consort. So she's trying to play that role as much as possible. But you get the feeling there's something she can say that can help you.
I wouldn't intervene against her because of Erica's reliance on Gallia, right? She's not going to deny Valorian that same reliance. But I guess I do need to use these bonus momentum.
I will note you can ask additional questions because you're having a ponder on the situation.
So, would it help solidify this if Erica, being that our primary domain is the construction of spacecraft, if Erica promises to use every asset available to basically, you know, acknowledge me as steward. If I have to burn the planet, I will use every financial asset my house has and all of our connections with the guild, being that I have our primary domain is spacecraft, to fund the exploration of a new world. Because first of all, there isn't that much land left to develop on this world. So if the steward house wants to grow, we kind of need to expand to a new place anyways.
Right.
Right. Without we already know without devastating the forest, there's not much more that can be done. Which is why Valorian made this deal in the first place, to suggest that I could that Erica could be steward if she did develop it, because it was something that he struggled to find a way to do. And that even if I don't have to burn the planet, right, I will still make that effort. Maybe not as intensely. Like, I'm not going to bankrupt the house to do it in a single year or two, but I will fund that. Especially because, right, even if we disregard this whole situation that Eric has brought here today, this is something that needs to happen. So would that promise affect this situation?
Oh, it definitely would, because that's as noble as Valorian tries to be, as reasonable as Arconis tries to be. They are, at the end of the day, nobles of the Imperium, members of the Landsraad. No one wants to put themselves in the poorhouse if they don't have to. And a sort of noble to noble promise of, hey, look, I know I might be like ruining you. I'm not gonna just shove you into commoner's clothes. I'm gonna help you rebuild. It may not be immediate, but I'm gonna do everything I can to rebuild. And that's a very major house thing to do. Is you, as my minor houses, I'm gonna help you guys grow, help me grow. And that's part of my duty. Which that will definitely speak to Malvolus. I mean, Malvolus won't like it a ton, but Valorian and Arconis will definitely like it, and that gets their agreement more. That makes them feel better that you're going to take care of them.
Can I use language that will let Malvolus think he's part of this? Like using innuendo to say that I won't leave my vassals behind? Even though Valorian and Arconis know that, right, this situation means that she's talking about us. But Malvolus is like, oh, all these words I'm hearing don't say Malvolus need not apply. So maybe I can get in on this.
For 2 momentum, you can start formulating that plan ahead because you're not communicating it. This is just you formulating plans. But for 2, you can have an advantage of, okay, you thought of that. You know Malvolus is probably going to say this, and you're going to respond with that. Okay, you already have your plan of how you're going to answer that problem without tipping your hand too much. That makes the communication check later easier.
All right, then I will spend those 2. And I want to spend 1 to ask. Erica has to consider, however slight, the possibility that Johanna is actually going to find out that the situation doesn't warrant atomics. What does Erica need to do to ensure that if there are no atomics, she retains authority over the situation and Malvolus doesn't? None of these other people act like a loose cannon, they heed Erica's newfound authority.
You would need the assent, like a full-throated assent of the Judge of Change, who isn't here. They're back at Kaitan by this point. The Judge of Change for Silvanus, because there's one for each scenario, for each crisis. Better way to put that. The Judge of Change needs to assent, because that's the will of they have the power. Sorry, the Emperor needs to assent to you and agree. The Judge of Change, empowered by the Emperor to make such decisions, can say, okay, I think this person has that power. If what Johanna says is true, getting the assent of Johanna and perhaps this Silvanus may be what tips you over, because that potentially can get you the tribes. Which kind of puts you in which tips the power balance in your direction a lot harder, and it becomes a lot more difficult because it might turn into a Canley issue if they really wanted to fight you on it, sort of thing.
Well, so my concern is, let's say, in 4 or 5 days, there's a meeting on the bridge of the battleship with the 2 dukes, or the 3 dukes, and Erica, right? The Reverend Mother says, all right, nothing to be worried about. Yes, in a very technical sense, there's a Siamek, but he's one of the good ones, and none of the thinking machine thing was his fault, and oh gee, just isn't he a cool guy? And somehow is convincing enough to convince all of us that think that this the literal devil is kind of a cool guy. So just let's put a pin in how that would actually work, but just say that is the thing that happens.
How would you keep them from
How would I keep Corvin from pulling out a communicator and saying fire? Because even if the Judge of Change was here, how is she gonna stop him in that instant from just doing it?
You'd have one of the fleets, either the Valorian fleet or Konus fleet or Beleza fleet, would have to be watching for him to arm, because it does take a second to fire. So he'd have to arm, and then someone turns and just obliterates his fleet before they shoot. Because you wouldn't arm and then sit on an armed load like that. You don't want to sit on an armed nuke for too long, because if an accident happens, you're screwed. You kind of need to sitting in orbit, ready to go, and then load fire. Because the minute you load and power up stuff, anyone watching you knows you're doing it, sort of thing. Because you can see, because you'll see that the radiation shielding's being lifted. You can see that they're warming up the rock. You'd have to be waiting until they're about to fire the rockets to have it launch down, because that's something you could detect with various mechanical sensors and such in optics.
So it would probably be a good thing as part of this speech, whenever it comes up, to say that if the Dukes can be convinced, then extending an olive branch to one of them, like to Valorian, and saying, hey, I'll make you my war master, and part of that job is gonna be you get the responsibility to annihilate any of the 3 or 4 fleets if they arm early.
You could slip that in.
Is that gonna make Malvolus walk out? Because everybody's gonna know he's the one I would, right?
Yeah.
If I say, hey, you can nuke someone if they jump, everybody's gonna look over at Malvolus and be like, she only brings this up because you're the dumbass who would jump.
Yeah. It would. So the difficulty here is 5, for sure, because this is a incredible thing you're pushing for. I would up the complication only by 1 because of Malvolus's trait. The funny thing is, the difficulty drops by 1 to 4 because he has a different house trait that applies positively to what you're doing.
Oh, he doesn't trust anyone, right?
His
that it?
house is ambitious and brutal. So you're thwarting his ambition, but he appreciates the brutality of your solution.
Oh, he's like, damn it, that's what I would do.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's smart. I'm pissed that you're doing it to me, but that's a good call. I'd do that. I think he had the stones for it, that sort of thing.
You know, I hate that he sees himself in me, but I'm not going to take ownership of that because someone said they're Cymex, and then let the impulsive person know that without really teeing me up for it. So someone else gets to take the blame for all this.
How are you supposed to tee someone up for that?
You know what? Erica has demonstrated her impulsivity so much up to this point that it's on you to have figured that out. All right. I don't know if now is the time to make the speech or not. So okay, it is the time.
And actually, one thing. The difficulty can be brought down lower if you each of Valorian, Seraphina, and Arconis have concessions that they may ask. That brings the difficulty down further because there's things each of them want that would make them a free cell.
Okay, if I let them voice them, am I bound to them?
No.
Like, is it going to make it harder if they say what they want and I say no?
It ups the comp range because you're going to make a speech that doesn't include that, but it doesn't make it more difficult. It's already difficult. It's already pretty difficult. So it's more of it adds complications because they know you snubbed them.
Okay.
Malvolus isn't considered because you're kind of accounting for him in two different ways. So he's not whatever concession he wants. He's already kind of getting. So he's getting the best of his will.
Besides, I know what the concession he wants. He wants that family annihilated.
Yeah. Now, if he still had the cult around, he would have been. This conversation would be almost impossible around Malvolus. You took care of the cult, so.
Yeah. Or I gave one of them nukes.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on before the GM uses that against me. Sure, I'll let them voice their opinion because basically with being this is communicate, and I think it's gonna be justice. This is going to mean that either each of these dies is a success or they're a complication because the comp range will be so high.
So who do you ask first?
Because
you get the feeling off of them that they have actually as a courtier you kind of get the feeling like no one does something for free. One of the easy ways to get someone to agree to something is to concede something. What do you want?
I will go in order of rank, except that I will listen to Arconis first. That is to send the idea that Arconis is a duke, Valorian is a duke. They get to be heard before Seraphina, but Valorian is now merely a duke, right? I'm not considering him first because I'm not considering him the steward.
The Duke Arconis. Will want one of the focuses for the future of the stewardship to not be so inwardly focused and to have more diplomatic contact and embassy with the various powers of the Imperium. He currently already has some political. His strategy this whole time has been to make sure at least in Silvanus, all of you have a diplomat of his. He can get an emissary to any of you almost immediately. He has an emissary on Kaitan, which saves a lot of problems. But there's not a huge outreach to the Space Guild, the Spacing Guild, which you can help with. The Bene Gesserit, which hopefully he's not sure how that's going to work, but he wants to make sure there's a big focus as a venture to make sure that there's a firm diplomatic outreach to everybody, that we don't just get too caught up on our own tempest in a bottle. Which he's worried that both Malvolus and Valorian have made that mistake. He doesn't want you to repeat that mistake because he feels that isolates Silvanus in a way that whether we blow up the planet or not, that needs to change if we're going to grow. We need to be more part of the Atlantis rod than we ever have been.
I'll agree as long as that generally can be limited to the Bene Gesserit, the Emperor, the Landsraad, and the factions aligned with Atreides. I'm not going to commit to deal in an honest fashion with Getty Prime because they won't deal honestly with me. As long as he's not asking me to do that.
He does want an envoy to be present at the very least, a diplomatic presence.
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't want him to think that I will deal honestly with Getty. Okay, I will deal honestly. I'll deal justly with Getty Prime. I might not deal equally with them as Atreides. As long as I just don't want him to get the idea that if I'm sending a diplomat everywhere, I'm trying to be friends with everyone.
I'll give you you get the feeling off him that his traits are his house traits are unthreatening and discreet.
Okay, that's fine. Then yes, he can have this.
Okay.
In fact, I would love to send him off somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that, but
Yeah.
sure, one of the powerful people in the system, why don't you just go permanently live on Arrakis?
Be our
That'll be
diplomat
useful.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it, and I won't have to deal with you.
Valorian, his primary concern, one thing he wants the most, he doesn't want Sylvan, if it is devastated, he doesn't want it to be abandoned. There'll have to be some new industry, whatever that is. We need to figure out what that is. He wants, and upon that, the idea of you expanding further, he wants to make sure that the values of Valorian and Beleza aren't lost in the new change. Which is to say, his house is just and industrious, so he doesn't want the Silvanus system to turn into a war council like Malvolus was trying to do. He doesn't want that at all. He wants it to be he wants us as a whole to be in a commercial powerhouse or an industrial powerhouse that grows bigger and bigger and bigger. A military will be needed to protect it, obviously, but industry should be the primary mover rather than military might.
I can agree to that because Beleza's primary domain is industry, and I'm pretty sure Malvolus's is too. Right? His is military industry, but it is industry.
One of his domains is machinery, artillery, and workers' logistics. But traits-wise, he's ambitious and brutal.
Okay.
Whereas Valorian as a trait is industrious as a house. So that's kind of the thing.
Okay, then I don't. Yeah, House Beleza is industrious as well. I don't think Erica would have any problem with this. With the caveat being, only the Emperor could probably afford to develop a planet and find a new one in a short time, right?
Yeah, it has to be
the
one
more
or the
he
other.
asks for.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, it's not even that it has to be one or the other permanently. It's that only one of them could be afforded at a time.
Yeah. But that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, no problem with that.
Lady Seraphina. She's in a weird pickle.
She wants something that he didn't.
She wants something that the Bene Gesserit don't want, but she's of their faction, so I'm trying to figure out what she's gonna do. She would ask for something. I'm just not sure what at the moment.
But you're not sure what she would ask for, or that she would ask for what she wants? Because what she wants is.
I'm trying to figure out how precisely she would word. She would ask it though, like given the choice to voice it, she would voice it. I'm the one who's playing a little. There's two things she would like. One is a nice to have. One is one that she would concede the ground on, basically. So think of the first thing as a favor, and the second thing as the thing that would actually get her to concede. The first thing is that no matter what, well, not no matter what, but at the end of all this, that Silvanus Johanna Rashid is honored for her contributions. Like, if this turns badly and she dies down there, she doesn't want her to be vilified, villainized, and cast as a heretic or something like that.
Aw.
She admits that part of that is because the previous Reverend Mother was her mother, but also she genuinely believes that Johanna is carrying on what the Reverend Mothers of Silvanus have been trying to do, and she's working for humanity's sake. But she knows very many others away from Silvanus would probably pressure Erica into turning her into, basically casting her as the villain, because especially if she's dead. She's a very easy villain to cast, and she doesn't want her. That's a favor. She would like that, but if the demands of politic push otherwise, she gets it. She's not going to be happy about it, but she gets it. The thing that gets her to concede is that she definitely, she knows that you have a favor with, that your heir has to be spoken for by the Bene Gesserit. Well, one of them anyway. She would like it declared now which of the Silvanus houses that you're going to marry him in, or marry him with. So that way we don't have a weird situation of, when you become Steward, what happens in the event of, like, do we have a secure alliance of houses, of the Silvanus houses? She doesn't want the power to bleed out to some external great house. She wants the houses of Silvanus to be still connected by blood.
See, that's the problem that Erica can't. Erica already said that Alfonso's marriage prospects belong to the Bene Gesserit.
That's what she's saying. If you're willing to name who it is, she's gonna push for that.
But it's not up to me anymore. It's the
she's a Bene Gesserit herself. Is what she's saying. You say,
okay.
I'm gonna say it's this. She goes, okay, I'm gonna go to Wallach 9, and I'm gonna push for that to happen.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. I mean, because Alfonso's not the heir. He's
No,
the younger.
No, it's the other way. So, Antonio goes and lives with the Bene Gesserit,
Right.
and the price for them not abusing his genetic
Right.
makeup
Okay, I remember now.
is Alfonso
Yeah,
married
yeah.
who they declare.
Yeah.
She's saying that I'm going to hand that back to you because I guess she's more loyal to this system than the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah. But she's willing to pull her Bene Gesserit connections to help the Bene Gesserit out, because she knows there's a goal they want, but also she doesn't want that at the price of Silvanus or the Silvanus houses. Because if you're willing to agree to that, she knows that you're very focused on the Silvanus houses. I will note that Theron's kind of annoyed that she brought that up. You can get why she didn't almost say it, but since everyone's asking, and you asked her, or you let her say anything rather, like, okay, well, if I get to ask, this is what I'm asking for.
And Erica has to say no because Erica is just. Erica gave her word. That was the pound of flesh the Bene Gesserit asked, and Erica's, first of all, not going to endanger the safety of Alfonso by trying to undermine their blood price, but also, it was a price fairly agreed to. Erica's come to terms with how much she had to suffer through that decision. And the right thing to do is to let that stand. So, also, if Valorian asked this, right, Erica would twist and turn because it's because the trait power, her power of 7 would be fighting a justice of 8, right? But Seraphina has soft power only. She has power only from her marriage. She has no entrenched power. So
She has consort power and Bene Gesserit power, but it's not it's not military power. It's not a hard power.
Yeah, and so in that case, the answer is no.
What about the favor?
Which was again. Erica feels about it the same way she does, almost. But the problem is, Seraphina has already acknowledged the problem. Right? Erica will attempt to preserve Johanna's memory in a positive light, but if the Emperor demands a name and giving him my name or Valorian's name or a name of the member of the tribes who are not only alive but not responsible, this is just not a non-starter, right? The only person whose name can be given if the Emperor or the Lancelot demand a name is Johanna's. So I'm not gonna throw her under. I'm not going to use her as a pawn, but if the Emperor or the Lancelot ask about the situation, I'm not going to put Johanna's memory above the safety and stability of the stewardship.
Mechanically, the way that will work, it doesn't help with this roll either way. But if you perform a venture that to the end of supporting Johanna, or you find a way to be able to do that, as part of that, you also gain a favor with Lady Seraphina for free, basically, because that's her alerting you to the fact that there's a possible venture down the line. Or more than anything, it doesn't help with the current conversation. She's not willing to concede, but you get the feeling that whatever this goes out, if you do that, she will personally appreciate it. If you're able to achieve it. If you fail, she understands, because she understands the politics of the situation. So yeah, but that is a comp increase of +1, but a difficulty decrease of -2. So if 2, comp 3.
All right. Trade of just.
For comp or difficulty.
Complication. Trade of courtier.
Yep. What?
Complication.
Okay, so so now it's just a pure div 2 roll. Comp 1, it's automatic.
The holographic artwork of pain? Because I know Malvolus doesn't care, but he's not the one I'm convincing here. So I guess it matters whether any of the three of them care.
Valorian cares, but he already conceded.
Okay.
Theron isn't as concerned with justice as Eric is.
Land rights, I stand to lose as well, so they know I'm not going to abuse this authority.
Yeah, I'll take that, because you're basically, if you're right and you nuke, your land rights become worthless and you'll have to change them into something else.
Yeah.
I have land rights to nuclear radiated woods. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I couldn't give this away to a commoner. Maybe a smuggler, maybe, or the Beni Talaxu for experiments. I don't know if you want to deal with it.
I'm gonna give you a wild guess on my opinion. All right. This is communicate justice.
Yep.
All
20s. Just
kind of wish I had my determination just for story purposes, but it was needed to get here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, and the land rights, I need that for bonus momentum, not for difficulty.
Right.
I will. For the purposes of binding promise, would you accept threat, or does it have to be momentum?
I'd take threat.
Okay, because I need it. This is just. Do I need to load up on threat now to try to earn momentum, or can I? Yeah. So, anyways, I'll spend 1 momentum. Focus and diplomacy.
Yep.
That looks like 2 momentum and 2 bonus. Okay. I'm going to spend 2 off the table and 1 out of the pot to make this a binding promise that requires you to spend 6 momentum to get Valorian to break.
I think I get to spend threat for that. I can't spend momentum.
Oh, you're right. And then 1 to make a binding promise that costs 2 to break on Arconus.
Okay. Note those on your sheet.
Oh, this is good. Oh no, because I have 1 on Malvolus, but I'm hoping you have that written down because I've not written any of these down.
Whoops, they forgot. No, I'm just kidding. Malvolus is like 6 as well. It was ridiculous.
I've only ever done 6 in the past.
Yeah.
It's just this time I was like, you've got so much threat that you could create a massive problem. I've been avoiding this entire time adding to that because it's already such a problem.
With that impassioned speech, as you rally the Dukes of Silvanus to your banner to pass on the stewardship, whether the Imperium recognizes it and the Lion Throne acknowledges it and the Judge of Change sent, that's a problem for later, but for now, you guys know what local command is. Whether or not the Emperor approves, we'll deal with that later. Right now, we have a possible Cymac to deal with. So we swing back to Vernalis Hollow as Silvanus Johanna Mashid and Richard Marshall Mill Moonshadow have a bunch of rangers nearby, as well as a rumor that intel, I should say, that the Cloak of Silvanus, of the Steward rather, is in possession of the local director of Chom Affairs.
Right. So I will ask the Wind Whisperers if they will assist me by escorting me and helping me and Mill Moonshadow here move quickly to the forest as deep into the depths as they can go, and then she and I will proceed where no man can follow.
They consider it an honor to do so. Gladly do that.
So I give them the basics of about where we're going and how long it takes, and ask them to see to supplies for our journey while Mill Moonshadow and I see to some other business here in town. And I thank them profusely. Well, shall we go see our local home representative, Marshall? Richard Marshall?
You're muted if you're responding there, Mill.
Sorry about that. I said, yes, we should. I was wondering why it seemed like everyone was ignoring what I was saying. Sorry about that.
Nope.
I forgot to hit on mute when I came back.
Yeah, so let's proceed to the bubble fab or whatever it is. I guess that's where the
Yeah.
show guy is.
Let us.
What brought you here?
There was an attack outside of the farm that
Mhm.
killed 5 people. And the people who were killed had something which led me here.
Who
Wait
were
a
the
minute.
people?
Are we seeing... Are those the same guys that were following me previously?
Yep, except this time they're in the company of what appears to be a some sort of officer. Some sort of CHOAM security officer.
Ah, I was about to ask what organization.
Huh.
They stop you from entering into the glass prefab, the CHOAM estate, if you will. As these goons kind of bar your way, the streets start clearing because they notice these guys are starting to get out there. They all look obviously armed. You notice that the officer in the middle has a shield generator at his belt. Excuse me. I am Commander Stavros of the CHOAM Security Forces. What is your business here?
I'm the Reverend Mother Silvanus Johanna Mershid, and of House Beleza. I would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the, what's he called, trade representative or?
A trade director.
The trade director, please.
I'm afraid that the two of you have been noted as suspicious persons, and I must request you, upon Imperial writ, to vacate this settlement. Or we will have to use force. He shifts in his place. He shifts where he stands when he says it.
Ah, so a Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserits you consider a suspicious person, and you are willing to use force against her. Joanna says this pretty loudly.
I am following orders, ma'am.
Then I suggest you revisit your superiors and ask him to carefully reconsider the potential consequences of threatening to use force against not merely a Reverend Mother, but the clan mother of no clans. Here on the world of Silvanus. And I suggest you talk to your superior quickly.
I act with the authority of the Lion Throne. So, his word, his writ, demands my obedience. What my personal feelings are on the matter, ma'am, I cannot voice, I cannot reason, I may only obey. No other path for me. Please, for the love of God, do not make me kill the two of you. The four guys around him look very eager to do something. He looks very obviously not eager to do anything. Like his hand's more hovering to his shield generator than his weapon.
Right. Okay, so is this guy speaking the truth? I mean, is this how...
Understand
Yeah.
difficulty too. This isn't a thing you run into on a day-to-day basis.
I can assist with that, I think.
Certainly could.
Okay. Understand truth. Deductive reasoning?
Yeah.
I'll go understand power and physical empathy.
Yeah, because Stavros is trying to tell you something.
I only get to roll 1 to try to assist.
Correct.
Oof.
Damn it. Dice are not with us today. Well, they were with us earlier.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you haven't worked in Imperial matters, and even on Catan, you didn't deal with the Imperial law all that much. You dealt with Silvanus law and Bene Gesserit law.
Oh, dang. I forgot earlier. I needed to roll my d20. I'm going to do that now. Nope. Eventually, that will trigger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Does he theoretically have the authority to kick me out of the village?
You're not sure. He says he
Okay,
does.
fair enough. Okay, I don't really want to spend my determination on figuring this out. Hmm. So some of the factions in Chome are still up to something. He's got that cloak, which is something we kind of need, but I don't think we can get there from here right now. All right.
I think
What?
we have more urgent problems to address.
Indeed. Good day, Commander. Johanna will drop a word in the ear of a moon shadow. I don't know, commander or whatever, some moon shadow of rank. If Mill can make the introduction.
Agents, basically.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. That the clan mother of no clans would appreciate it if the agent and his forces were kept in this village until I have the opportunity to speak with them.
Give me gonna be an opposed roll.
Fair.
Mainly it's you using them as an asset to counter their asset. You're forcing their assets to collide with each other.
Right.
Lock each other down. So you're giving them ideas as to what you want. Pitch me. I need not this book, but that book. But you need to know. My numbers are my problem. This would be. I don't think we're at battle yet. You're not telling them to beat them up. You just want them to tie them down.
Right.
I would say it's a move. Opposed move. You're impeding my movement with their movement. Yep.
Fair enough. I'm going to say
Oh, I know who's
move duty. This has more to do with the house than I think. It may have a bunch to do with Silvanus too, but I'm going to go with duty for this. Because these guys are definitely trying to keep Beleza from something, it seems. The cloak, maybe.
I'll take that, yeah. Full MIT, by the way.
All right. I was about to say, just keep that because I'm going to spend it right back at you. How much farther are we going? Game-wise.
This is probably the last roll.
Okay. This move, and this is duty.
Well, not last roll. We're probably once you leave for last hollow is probably when.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spend my determination on my duty statement, which is we are not born to serve ourselves alone.
Yep.
Okay, and then I will give you 5 for 4. Stealth for a focus. Because
yep.
I'm not necessarily wanting the moon and plus their moon shadows to be like, no, you can't leave, but like, oh no, something has happened to your transport, and we are easily 2 weeks from getting a replacement part.
Yeah. Something of that nature, yeah. Very moon shadowy solutions. Like, hey, we didn't do anything. You can't prove nothing.
Right. I have 6, it looks like. Ooh, that looks like a good roll.
I have 4. Correct? Checking. I have 4.
Okay.
So you generate 2. You're able to maneuver your asset into Commander Steward's asset, essentially. Yeah, you're pretty confident that the Moon Shadows will quietly hinder any attempts by Stavros' forces to follow you, hinder you. They're going to be too busy dealing with these guys.
Yeah, well, I'm also wanting to keep like the Chome guys here, so they can't leave. Yeah. Okay. Ah. Hope you like this village you've just kicked me out of, because guess what?
You're not leaving.
All right. So yeah, we'll wait for we'll rejoin the Wind Whispers once they've gathered supplies, and Mill, unless you've got something else to do, I say we begin this journey. I
would say the same.
To get where you're going with a quickness, it would have been difficulty 4. It drops to diff 3 because you have the Wind Whispers with you. There's a move of diff 3.
Can you assist, Mill?
Yes. Yes, I can.
And you know what I'll do? I have some threat. 4, 5. As you make your journey out into the deep woods, you start learning that there seem to be other people who are using strange technologies to try to get deep in at the same time as you are. So you kind of you either have to fight them to stop them, or you have to race ahead of them to get where you're going. Somebody's out here.
Mm.
This is now a diff 5 roll. I will say to you, if you hadn't tied these guys down, you would have been forced into a fight.
Okay.
you made it so I couldn't follow you. All I could do was try to race you to where you're going.
Okay. Oops. So this is move. I think stealth will come in here because I'm going to try to avoid a fight.
Yep.
To keep moving. This is going to be move what? Considering my ultimate goal, I'm going to go for truth because this is all in service of me finding out the truth about Silvanus and the world.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Hold on. I have to deal with a cat who's being an asshole.
Be an asshole back to it.
Well, I kind of am because I'm not letting it be where he wants to be.
That's mean. What do you mean?
Which in his view, right? Exactly. All right, you can go in here. There's a whole other half of the house you can have.
Its scent is there, therefore it owns it, all right? That's how things work.
No, trust me, I know. All right. So I'm going to get truth.
Early. Do. There we go.
I'll give you 2 momentum and 4 threat for a full minute.
Okay.
Will other memory come into handy here of previous Reverend Mothers
Yes.
of Silvanus? Okay, cool.
Many Reverend Mothers have come this path. Sometimes while racing other people to a place.
Okay. 2,
Good
4,
golly.
6, 7 plus 3, 10.
Okay. Tell me to go to hell, why don't you? Jeez. So yeah. You and Moonshadow race ahead. The Wind Whispers.
God, assuming we survive this, I could hear this legend being written.
Then, in time, the two of you, they have to break off. The Wind Whispers end up getting into fights because even without you telling them, they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to be in here. We're going to, even if the wood doesn't kill you, we're going to. You're not supposed to be in here. We know you're not supposed to be in here. So that does peel back at least one group that would have came after you. But you get the feeling that when next you go into the deepest deep, someone vile and unholy is going to attempt to breach your sanctum and frustrate your attempts to see the truth.
Well, I guess it's good I have a marshal with me.
But with that, holy heck, a lot happened. I had a particular. I will admit, most of the mystery was going to be today was going to be about the darn cloak. Then we have this whole other revelation, which it had to happen at some point. So, yeah, a grand confrontation with Silvanus to come, a massing of the largest fleet that the Silvanus system has seen since the Butler and Shahad, frankly. And a brave new future awaits all of you, no matter what happens from this. For all of you watching, thank you very much for watching. Those of you playing, thank you very much for playing. And we'll see you again next time. Bye. Oh my good god. Any of these rolls whiffing would have been so bad.
Shit's getting real now.
I was expecting this in, like, you know, I don't know, 6 more months? In-gamely, I mean.